125 at-bats, Carter hit his 300th career homer, the 59th player to join that exclusive club. As Gary was heard to say after his historical clout, gee, it really feels great to get out from behind the 8-ball. Baseball by the numbers coming up on NBC this afternoon. The Red Sox and the Tigers, the Yankees and the Twins from Fenway Park. I'm Gail Gardner. Thanks for being with us. Enjoy the afternoon.
Tuesday, Matlock loses his very first case.
We find the defendant guilty of murder.
If given a second chance, could he uncover the real killer?
That's the plan.
Matlock, Tuesday.
First there was Johnny Carson, then came David Letterman, and now Bob Costas. The late night tradition continues. Later with Bob Costas.
How do you describe new 7-Up Gold? Wow thing. You make my heart sing. You make everything groovy. Get a taste of the wild and unexpected new 7-Up Gold. Wild thing, I think I love you. Ow!
You know, some things are worth waiting for, like the summer clearance sale that's on now at Bedford Interiors. You'll find substantial savings on quality furniture from names like Gibbard, Pennsylvania House, Barrymore, Thomasville, and many more. Everything in the store has been reduced up to 50% during their summer clearance sale. For 41 years, Bedford has enjoyed a reputation for quality and service. See them soon at 1850 Hymas Boulevard, 2 blocks east of Sources, in Dorval.
Help fight kidney failure. Walk in the Kidney Walkathon on Sunday, August 14th.
A week ago, when the Red Sox arrived in Detroit, they were tied for first place, and there was nothing particularly unfriendly at Tiger Stadium. They had won 2 out of 2. But in the course of a 5-game series, explosive home runs by Matt Noakes. He has hit 6 of his 13 against Boston pitching, even down the great Roger Clemens. And suddenly the Red Sox were carried out on their numbers 4.5 games back. But now the Sox are home at Fenway Park, where they have won so many in a row to get people talking about records. And by winning last night, it's 23. 1 behind the 78 Pirates, 3 behind the 1916 Giants. And to show that they were home, happily ensconced in their familiar digs, Jim Rice hit one over the friendly green monster in left center field, and the Sox went on to pulverize Detroit 9-4 and now trail by 3.5. So the stage is set. It'll be Mike Bodiger for Boston, Jeff Robinson for Detroit. The Sox and the Tigers at Fenway Park.
National Broadcasting Company. Now in its 7th decade of bringing you baseball's memories. Baseball's milestones. Baseball's majesty. And baseball's magical moments. NBC Sports proudly presents the Major League Baseball Game of the Week. Today from Fenway Park, it's the Detroit Tigers versus the Boston Red Sox. The Game of the Week is brought to you by Mitsubishi Motors, who invites you to come see the full line of cars and trucks. Mitsubishi, suddenly the obvious choice. By Miller Brewing Company, sole sponsor of the U.S. Olympic Training Centers. And by Wrangler, American Hero Jeans.
Our everybody. I'm Vin Scully, along with Joe Garagiola. Welcome to Fenway Park in Boston, the home of the Boston Red Sox, the only team in the big leagues who feels happy and comfortable with its back against the wall. The wall is the green monster, but just look at it. The Red Sox have won 23 straight. Their record here is 39-18. When they're at home, they have a team batting average of .312, and they're averaging almost 6 runs per game. How do they do it? Well, what better man to ask than Dewey Evans? Dwight Evans has played here since 1972, over 2,100 games in a Red Sox uniform. So, Joe did just that.
Okay, Vin. Dewey, how do you explain the winning streak, sets records, and all that? How do you explain it here at home?
Well, that's very difficult, Joe, but the thing is, we just got on a roll. We got confidence in ourselves. We're at home. You're used to the surroundings of the ballpark. The fans are with us, and we made a change in managers, and the younger players responded to it and started playing some great ball for us. So, I wish I could explain it. These things don't happen too often.
Do you do anything different, you or anybody else on the team, anything different taking batting practice in this park? Do you use the wall more here?
No. That's the problem with me. I try not to use the wall because it hurts me. I try to go up the middle. I just try to see the ball and hit it. In other ballparks, we've had trouble in other ballparks. You try to get used to the surroundings, the backgrounds, where the pitcher's throwing the ball out of, those kind of things.
In one word, can you give me the attitude of this ball club?
They're hustling. They're playing hard. One word, I don't know if I could do it. It's a great little team.
It's a great little team. Good luck to you. It is a great little team, man, and we'll see more of it today.
And that sounds like the setup line of all time. Good little team, my eye. They're a heavyweight ball club that'll knock you out, especially here at Fenway. That will be the challenge for young Jeff Robinson and the Detroit Tigers. We'll get to the starting lineups. We'll have all the pregame stats and stories, all coming up right after this.
Suddenly, a surprising development. The new Mitsubishi Mirage. You can tell your friends it has fuel-injected power. You can tell your colleagues it's priced less than Corolla, Civic, or Sentra. You can tell your family it has more room than all three. But the best news about Mirage is no other sedan this practical ever had this much style. The 1989 Mirage.
Mitsubishi, suddenly the obvious choice.
Well, you're in trouble already. I don't do flakes anymore. Come on, you want to make a splash for the cereal today, you got to jazz it up. Nuts, chocolate chips. Nothing here but flakes. Not something so simple. Now, I see you don't want to be full of stuff like the other guys. They zig, you zag. Very clever. I like it.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Corn Flakes?
Taste them again for the first time.
We go above and beyond just like you, above and beyond what we have to do.
I'm a Prudential representative, and I help people review their life insurance needs because I know how much the right life insurance means to me and my family.
You take pride in your life, so do we. Going above and beyond is our policy. The Rock, the Prudential above and beyond.
But he represents the tying run. Nobody out here in the bottom of the seventh. Dale Murphy. He fouled it off.
Now get some sleep.
I can't.
Try counting home runs.
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
What does that little chant the kids at school say? Whether it's cold or whether it's hot, we'll have weather, whether or not. Well, this isn't going to surprise anybody across the country, but it is hot in Boston. The temperature, 95 degrees. The humidity at 82%. A little bit of a zephyr, 10 miles an hour blowing from left to right as far as the ballpark is concerned. The forecast, more of the same. Hot and steamy and a chance of thunder showers.
I tell you, all you have to do is shake hands with the catcher and you're as hot as you're going to get. In fact, I was kidding Trammell. I said, Alan, that pad you wear on your elbow, he said, well, it's been a little sore and I keep that pad on to keep it hot. I said, are you serious? You're going to wear something to stay hot today?
Well, the heat is like this in every city we have been in the big leagues. Everyone, except perhaps out on the West Coast where it's slightly cool. And talking about hot, how about the Red Sox? As everybody knows, they have won 23 consecutive games at home. If they win today, they will have tied the 1978 Pirates, who won 24 straight at home. The all-time record, the 1916 Giants, won 26. Here's the Tiger lineup as the Red Sox take the field. Leading off for Detroit will be Lou Whitaker at second base. Pat Sheridan will be in left field, and Anil Trammell will be at short. Then you have Dave Bergman at first and Chet Lemon in right. Matt Noakes will be behind the plate. Darrell Evans is the DH. Then you'll have Dwayne Murphy in center field and Tom Brookins at third base. Trying to stop that, Mike Boddicker with a record of 8-13, 0-2 against Detroit, 2-10 lifetime, but those numbers posted when he was with Baltimore. He has always pitched well here in Fenway. He's 5-1 in his career here, and with Boston, he is 2-1.
There's a key stat, 60-22 record the last 3 years after August 1st, 30-19. Terry Kennedy said something very interesting about him, and I checked with Boddicker, Vin. Kennedy says he does what he has to do, and he can spot a flaw faster than any pitcher I've ever seen, and if he needs a pitch, he'll invent one. So I said to Boddicker, how do you invent a pitch? He said, well, if I'm not getting a guy out, I'll throw him a knuckleball, I'll turn it over. In fact, I throw a split finger pitch between my third finger and fourth finger. I said, are you putting me on? And he says, no, he's not. So he's an inventor.
How does the inventor feel about switching uniforms from Baltimore to the Boston Red Sox? Well, we had a chance to visit with him before the game and asked him just that.
I was happy to be going, but yet leaving people like Cal Jr., who I've been with since I first signed, and stuff like that. It was hard, and the people of Baltimore were very good to me, but it's a great situation. It's a great sports city, and the people and my teammates and management, front office, everybody's been great to me here.
He has been involved in two incredible streaks as we see the defense.
And there it is. Burks and Evans and Greenwell in the outfield pretty good. And Greenwell, you watch him play that wall. They learn in a hurry here. Boggs, who has become I think, a Gold Glove candidate, certainly. Owen is playing. Barrett is benched, and it's just a case of giving him a rest because Owen had a good night last night, and Barrett's been a little bit of a slump. Benziger getting him behind the plate, and Boddicker is ready to pitch to Whitaker.
It's kind of interesting as Lou Whitaker, Pat Sheridan, and Alan Trammell come up against Mike Boddicker. That's a strike. Boddicker has been involved with two incredible streaks. The 21 straight losses by the Baltimore Orioles, and now, of course, trying to extend the 23-game winning streak at home. He was the pitcher who started for Baltimore the day this streak began, so he's really been involved. He wasn't involved in that game. He went out when it was tied 3-3. The Red Sox beat Baltimore 10-3, and that was the beginning of the 23. But Boddicker was the guy who started it. High drive into left center. Ellis Burks right there. One away. Whitaker is really in a slump. Could be he has a nailing back. He has 2 hits in his last 32 at-bats. And the breeze has changed. When we came on the air, it was blowing from left to right, and it is swirled completely around now, at least for the moment. And Pat Sheridan coming up. One out, first inning, just the start of things. The Detroit Tigers, 3.5 games in front of the pack, and it's interesting. They have 12 10-year veterans, and they have only 2 off days in quite a while. And that could be a factor with the Tigers. They are off on August the 25th, not before, and the next off day after the 25th, as you look at Darrell Evans, September 15th. Ground ball wide to first. Todd Benzinger will do it himself.
I think one of the big pluses, Vin, is the fact that they've been through a pennant race as tough as even last year when they were battling Toronto, so that could be a help.
And maybe as a veteran ball player, you know somehow to conserve your energy, although I don't know how.
Well, pretty much what we do. Go to the hotel and get a book and go to sleep. And try to stay out in the National Enquirer.
Alan Trammell. And if you poll the Boston Red Sox, when they talk about the player that really makes Detroit work, here's the man. And does he wear out Boddicker? Trammell is hitting .462 in his career against Mike Boddicker. Interesting thing, too, about Mike Boddicker, he's changed somewhat. There's a drive to center, but Burks is right there. We'll talk about the change in Mike Boddicker later on as the Tigers go down in order 1-2-3. And at the end of half an inning, Tigers nothing, Red Sox coming out.
Suddenly, a new development in practical sedans. Style at a lower price than Civic, Sentra, and Corolla. Introducing the 1989 Mirage from Mitsubishi. Suddenly, the obvious choice.
The ice caverns, where a beer was kept pure in the cold. A beer so rare, so smooth, the kegs had to be guarded by lions. That beer was Lowenbrau, German for the Lion's Brew. And today, that smooth, hearty taste is still carefully guarded under license and authority of Lowenbrau Munich, the Lion's Brew. Called for in America and around the world.
Best Western means instant worldwide reservations for all my clients.
Wherever my tours go, I can depend on Best Western.
Best Western has rates to fit your expense allowance.
Best Western has a variety and locations for any kind of meeting.
They have convenient locations no matter how you travel.
Whatever your reason for traveling, Best Western is the right place at the right price with over 3,000 independently owned and operated hotels worldwide. So for Best Western reservations, call your travel agent.
Excuse me, are you the Milton Pitts? You found him? Terrific. You're called Washington's official barber because you shave everyone from senators to cabinet members.
Just take a look at that wall, son.
Milton, what do you shave these powerful men with, huh?
A Bic shaver.
Bic? Not your barber's razor?
That's history. Bic is the best darn shaver I've ever used.
Okay, now who's that getting shaved with Bic?
Just look for the best shaved senator on the next debate.
The Bic shaver. If it's good enough for Milton, it's good enough for you. Suddenly, there's a delightful new car that suits your style without picking your pocket. Introducing the all-new 1989 Mirage from Mitsubishi. Suddenly, the obvious choice.
The Boston Red Sox are 15 games above 500, 3.5 games back of Detroit, and here's the way they stack up. Wade Boggs at third base and Spike Owen at short. Dwight Evans in right field and Mike Greenwell in left. Todd Benzinger at first base, Jim Rice the DH, Ellis Burks in center, Jody Reed at second base, and Rich Gedman behind the plate. On the mound for Detroit, young Jeff Robinson. He is 13-5, an ERA a little more than 2.5. And another note about him, look what the opponents are hitting. If you remember Tuesday night when we did the Mets-Cubs game, Sid Fernandez had a batting average of 191. But remember, in the American League, you don't pitch against opposing pitchers. You get the DH. Foul ball off third, down the line, out of play.
You just saw Rarity, Boggs swinging at that first pitch, but talking to him in the clubhouse before the game, he said, if I get a strike, I'm going after it. And he certainly did get a strike, and he went after it. He naturally hits to that wall out there, which is very friendly to these Red Sox.
0-1 the count to Wade, who has struck out swinging only 7 times this year. That's a strike. Last week when we did the Tiger-Boston game in Detroit, we talked about the fact that Boggs had swung and missed a pitch only 20 times all year. Well, 1 week later, just add 2 swings. Little number back to the box, and Robinson takes care of him. 1 away.
Okay, normally you see Boggs go deep in the count, 3 pitches, and he was out of there this time.
So Wade Boggs gone, 1 away, and Spike Owen coming up. When you are pitching in Fenway Park for an opposing team, you really have your work cut out for you. Not only have the Sox won 23 straight, but listen to their numbers during that stretch. The team has batted .335. They've hit 23 home runs. They've outscored their opponents by better than 2-1. Owen with Dwight Evans on deck. Ball one. 1-0 to Spike. Then, of course, something happens when they leave the enchanted castle. And you can see they fall off considerably in average and run production. Check swing foul. The Sox are twice as good at home. And is that jacket on his right arm actually going to help him today?
I don't think it'll help him keep warm, that's for sure. He just showed you that he's needing a towel. I think it's more habit than anything, and maybe a bit superstition, too. But I don't think he needs that jacket.
1 ball and 1 strike to count to Spike Owen. And that's a chopper up along first base. It will kick foul. Again, in talking about the Red Sox, home and away, and their success this year, although it is dramatically put into focus with 23 straight, but for the last 3 years it's been that way. In the last 3 years, the Sox have played a winning percentage at .642 at home. Not quite, but about as good as you'd ever want. But they've been under .500 for the same 3 years on the road. So Joe Morgan has a team that just goes wild here. And when you think about it, if they hope to win the pennant, they had better go wild here. Because the schedule means 7 of the last series the Red Sox play, 7 of 11 on the road, 3 of the last 4 series they play on the road. And Spike bangs it into right field, base hit.
You know, he's playing to give Marty Barrett a rest. He had a couple hits last night, and Joe Morgan, who we saw before, and asking him about it, he said, and he uses some great expressions. He said, I'm going to use the same Quinella.
Same Quinella.
Same Quinella. And he says, Marty Barrett, he said, Marty's a team man. He'll understand. And Spike Owen gets another base hit, and with every base hit, he's playing himself right into the lineup.
Here's Dwight Evans. He was really struggling. He was 0 for 22 when he came up with a couple of base hits last night. They moved him up to the number 3 spot in the lineup the 18th of June, and he's hit better than .325 since elevated. He's hitting just under .350 since that move here at Fenway. In there, 0-1.
He's a good number 3 man because he gets that bat on the ball, and you got a guy on first base, and they were first and third in it all night last night, and and Evans gives his coach a lot of time to go through a whole bunch of signs, which, if nothing else, puts a thought in the Tigers' mind. Evans
was desperately ill Tuesday in Milwaukee from food poisoning. Drives that one foul into the seats. The Sox were to play a doubleheader Tuesday, and he had some food and became deathly ill. And he obviously is okay now. That is a consideration that most of us don't think about. Ball players eating dressing room food on the road in all kinds of weather.
It was the chicken that got him, and he said, man, it's just like everybody. When you get food poisoning, you think you're going to die, and then you hope you do. That's how sick he was.
0-2 the count. Behind him. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
That was not a knockdown. In fact, that was a curveball that didn't break. I mean, he had about 20 minutes to get out of the way of that one.
Jeff Robinson, very successful at Tiger Stadium. He's 9-2 there, and he is 4-3 on the road.
Dewey Evans' front foot.
Fouled away. Doing a little toe dance.
Well, that's that Charlie Lau theory. Walt Riniak, who's the batting coach here, a great teacher of that. And Evans, Rich Gedman, you'll see him. Get that weight back. Swing down on the ball. Keep your head in.
The Red Sox have beaten Robinson twice this year. So that means he's 13-3 against the rest of the league. Spike Owen at first, 1 out in the first inning. Owen, by the way, is 0 for 1 in stolen bases. The Red Sox don't steal very many. They only have 47. Almost got him, and he's saying it did get me on the right arm. And the plate umpire, Larry McCoy, said no way.
That would have been one of those pitches, man. If you were wearing the old uniforms that would billow out, it would get you if it's form-fitting. So let's see. I think he's claiming it hit the uniform. And if it had been one of those old jobbies, he'd have had himself a base.
Just missed the right forearm, although he claims it hit him there. And the count 2-2. One away, first inning, no scores. Spike Owen at first base, and Mike Greenwell on deck.
Liable to see some running.
High drive into deep left field. Sheridan looking up at the wall. It's gone.
Well, he says he doesn't adjust for his ballpark, but they all look at that wall and give him something they can handle, and they'll do exactly that.
His 11th home run. He now has 77 runs batted in, and the Red Sox are leading 2-0 in the first inning. You know, last Saturday when we did the game at Tiger Stadium, and then Sunday I saw Kirk Gibson, and the first thing Gibson remarked was about the Red Sox and the long fly balls to left field at Tiger Stadium. And he said at Fenway, they're off the wall. And sure enough, first one we see today is good for 2. 2 down in the first inning. And Todd Benzinger will be coming out.
Here's the pitch he hit. Looked like it was right out over the plate, and he just turns on it. Oh, that's room service.
Remember last week at Tiger Stadium, the wind was blowing from left to right, and he felt he lost a couple of big shots because of the wind.
That's why a left-hand pitcher here at Fenway Park has to come inside. Robinson, of course, a right-hander, and he's still got to come inside. But those left-handers especially like to keep that ball away, get that ball in. They can hit it over that fence.
And that's ball 1. By the way, that home run by Dwight Evans against Jeff Robinson, that's the 15th that Robinson has allowed. That's the same number that Boddicker has allowed. On the corner. Here's where Dwight Evans is up to the moment now on the Sox all-time home run leaders. Gaining on Jim Rice, but still a long way to go. 1-1. 1-2 to the switch hitter, Todd Benzinger.
But you know, you look at that graphic, and he's a pretty well kept secret at that, because you really don't talk about Dwight Evans in terms of a Williams, a Yastrzemski, or a Rice. You're talking about some big power hitters, yet he's right up there with them.
And, of course, all of a sudden you realize over 2,100 games in a Red Sox uniform since 1972. 2-2 the count. Benzinger's hit in 19 of his last 24, and he's been very hot over that stretch. And it's interesting, too, to examine his numbers. 10 home runs, 9 of them as a left-handed batter. Busted bat, I believe. Yes, sir. I can still hear him, Joe.
Yeah, I tell you, every time they break a bat, you can hear it. Days of, what is that, Fordham?
Oh, yeah. He doesn't have to break it either. Just a little crack. I can hear it. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting sitting back here watching Dwayne Murphy in center field, how he gets set. He turns his back to the right fielder. And I asked him about that, and he says he did that at Oakland because he said, I can go towards right field better than I can towards left field, so I want to give myself an edge.
And let's face it, he has 6 gold gloves in his career. He can stand any way he wants.
Exactly. And he said, I play a little bit shallow, but I said, that's kind of unique. He said, well, I had to do it. I learned it at Oakland, and I just feel comfortable that way.
Benzinger back up there. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fastball missed. So 3-2 the count. 2 down and 2 in. The Red Sox leading 2-0. Got him. So Benzinger strikes out. However, the Sox get 2. 2 runs, 2 hits, nobody left. At the end of an inning, it's 2-0 Boston.
Suddenly, a surprising development. The new Mitsubishi Mirage. You can tell your friends it has fuel-injected power. You can tell your colleagues it's priced less than Corolla, Civic, or Sentra. You can tell your family it has more room than all 3. But the best news about Mirage is no other sedan this practical ever had this much style. the 1989 Mirage.
Mitsubishi, suddenly the obvious choice.
When he's working, when his work is done, a man wants a jean he can feel comfortable in. American Hero Jeans from Wrangler.
He's going deep into the party zone. Have a football party with plenty of Miller beers and Fritos corn chips and Lay's potato chips. Look for the Football Party Zone display. Turn your home into a football party zone.
If you think you might need some new hand tools, think about this. Sears Craftsman hand tools are built so tough, we guarantee them forever. And we mean forever.
The U.S. Olympic team takes on the Canadians in boxing on North American Showdown Sunday.
Now, most of you following baseball are aware of the consecutive home wins in a season. The Red Sox with 23, gaining on the Pirates and Giants. But there have been some other incredible winning streaks at home in other sports. For instance, in the NBA, the Boston Celtics, although a couple of those home wins were in Hartford, nevertheless 38 straight. The two-time Super Bowl champion Miami Dolphins, 27 straight. Then, of course, the Giants with 26, and the Philadelphia Flyers, 24 in a row in 1976. So Joe Morgan is at the wheel of what could be a record-setting drive. Under Morgan, and of course they lost 7 out of 9 on the road, so the Sox are 22-8. That's a strike. Dave Bergman, followed by Chet Lemon and then Matt Noakes.
I said to Bodiger, how would you describe your pitching? He says slow, slower, and slowest. Yet he holds a kind of unique record.
Well, we're going to mention that to you, Joe. He's been averaging a little more than 3 hit batters a year. This year he's hit 11. Does that mean anything at all?
I think he's just going inside more. That was a pretty good fastball there. He kept away. I don't know what else it would mean except that he's trying to reclaim the inside part of that plate.
With various throwers in the league, in the National League, I think Nolan Ryan has 7, but for Boddicker to have 11, and he's again working the ball away from Dave Bergman, it comes a little bit of a surprise. But a ball player wouldn't naturally be looking at those stats anyway, would he?
No, I don't think he'd be looking at him, and I think he'd be crowding the plate thinking that he's going to throw slow, slower, and slowest, and then comes inside and nicks you.
Slap foul as Bergman trying to protect the plate with that swing. Bergman has been playing pretty well. He's hit in 6 of his last 8. In fact, he's been hitting just under 380 since the 8th of June. And he hasn't made any errors at third base. 13 years in the big leagues. There is Jeff Robinson. He has disdained the jacket, but he also wraps that arm just in case. And he was already toweled off by the trainer. 3-2. Well, Bergman's aboard with a walk, and that'll bring up Chet Lemon.
Managers love to see that kind of hitting because he fouled off some tough pitches and draws the base on balls. And look at Montreal, Vin.
The Expos knocked off the Mets last night, and they have him pinned 5-0. Pascual Perez and Bobby Ojeda. Montreal began the day 5.5 behind the Mets, as did the Pirates, 5.5. And that's a base hit to right field, so suddenly Boddicker is in a jam. First and second, nobody out, and Matt Noakes coming up.
You know, we talk about managers like to see the kind of hitting Bergman did. Managers don't like to see what's happening here. Your team scores 2 runs. That's when you want to shut them down. Don't let them score right after you got the couple runs. And there you see Joe Morgan watching it and wondering, just how am I going to get out of this now?
And probably his least favorite Tiger is at the plate, Matt Noakes. Matt Noakes has 13 home runs this year, and 6 of them have been hit against Boston. Remember that monster had hit the facade of the upper deck in Tiger Stadium last Saturday. That's what he's done against Boston. Way out in front of it.
Changed speeds on him, and he wanted to get that bat head out there, and he got it out there, but about 10 minutes too soon.
Another thing in talking about Noakes and home runs, it brings up a change in the Tigers. In 3 of the last 4 years, the Tigers have led the major leagues in home runs. You know, they're 9th in 1988. What a fall-off. Off speed, so he's really slowing up on him. 1 ball and 1 strike. Of course, part of that fall-off, Gibson is gone, Parrish is gone. Also, the DH has not made the contributions to Detroit that they have in the past. So it is a considerable fall-off in power. They hit 7 home runs in their last 25 games. One ball, 1 strike. Ball 2, 2-1.
That's the pitch, I think, that may get him those 11 hit batsmen right there. The hitters are trying to protect that outside corner, and he comes inside to reclaim the inside part of that plate.
Waiting his turn on deck, Darrell Evans. 1 ball, 1 strike. Then they added another, so it's 2-1. Ground ball back at first. Benzinger down to his shortstop, Owen. Back to his pitcher, and it goes into the dugout, and a run scores.
I tell you, you almost want to tell the middle infielder, just keep the ball if the pitcher's covering. Last night, the Detroit Tigers tried it. It cost them a run, and it cost the Red Sox a run right now. Boddicker was there, but it's a very difficult play. We'll take a good look at it right here. Benzinger comes up with it. He gives him a good ball to handle. In fact, I think that he's deciding right then and there what he's going to do, but you can see off target and into the dugout, a very expensive throw.
So Spike Owen, playing shortstop, throws behind and low to Boddicker covering. The Tigers get a run, and it's now 2-1 Boston. And with a runner at second, the tying run and 1 out, here's Darrell Evans. Evans is one of the truly great disciplined hitters. He's walked over 1,500 times, and I guess everybody in both leagues realizes he has a great knowledge of the strike zone. And I'm sure Rich Gedman understands that. And if you're catching against a hitter who is so disciplined, what does that do to your game plan?
Well, you almost have to make that perfect pitch, and right now, it's early in the ball game. You know what he's up there looking for, a fastball inside, and I'm sure that if Gedman wants him to hit, it's going to be something on the outside part of the plate, see if he wants to pull it.
1 ball, no strikes. Big, slow rainbow, just dipped in for a strike. 1-1.
I tell you, it was interesting listening to Evans and Noakes in a hitting conversation, how they were exchanging ideas. This guy, Evans, he's up there with a definite idea in mind. He not only is he disciplined, Vin, he knows what he wants to do.
Another off-speed pitch just dropped in there for a strike. 1-2.
Think he's been looking for the fastball?
He's just been sitting on it, as the hitters say. 1-2 to Darrell Evans. There it is, and it's on the outside corner, and Evans can't believe it.
He thought it was outside, but you could see they were not going to give him the fastball to hit. They threw 2 curveballs in there, and then the fastball may have been a bit outside. Evans is not sure of it, and McCoy is going to dust off that play while he listens to Evans. That's pretty good pitching and pretty good pitch selection by Gedman. Look how he caught that ball. He caught the glove and then turned it in and may have just snuck it into that strike zone.
So Evans, who doesn't believe it yet, has been called out on strikes. And Dwayne Murphy, the hitter. Check, and it's high. Ball 1, 1-0. So Evans, with all the talk about the strike zone, is called out. And for plate umpire McCoy, he probably has to fight that anyway. Like, here comes this guy with a great strike zone. I'm going to have to call it no matter how he sees it.
Well, the umpires say they don't call it differently. They call the ball, but you have to wonder. I still think that George Brett, with his great line, he said that we'll have a woman president before Wade Boggs is ever called out on strikes. And that can go back to Ted Williams, Stan Musial, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, all the good hitters. They take it. The umpire, if it's close, they'll say, well, if he took it, it had to be a ball.
We can investigate that note one step further. Boggs this year has struck out 29 times. 7 times swinging. So he's been called out 22 times.
Well, I guess we're going to have a lady president.
Maybe.
Well, I'm still on George Brett's side.
2-1. And another balloon. Ball 3. 3-1 to count at Dwayne Murphy with Tom Brookins on deck. Yankees, Minnesota. Scoreless in the second. Richard Dotson, Roy Smith.
It's hot, and Boddicker has made 21 pitches this inning, so the Tigers are making him work.
The Yankees are 4 games back of Detroit, a half a game back of Boston. That's in there. So Mike Boddicker working corners, throwing a lot of off-speed pitches. Does that make any difference to you? In other words, he's made 20-some-odd pitches, but most of them are slow breaking balls. It's not like he's firing smoke all the time.
Well, no, I consider him a pitch is a pitch.
Fastball on the hands, pop foul behind the plate, and Rich Gedman is there. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error, 1 left at the end of an inning and a half. 2-1, Boston.
You know, when I pitched, I used to have trouble in the late innings, but I won't have any trouble pitching my favorite beer, Miller Lite. Light's less filling, and it's light's less, and it's.
Suddenly, a new development in practical sedans. Style at a lower price than Civic, Sentra, and Corolla. Introducing the 1989 Mirage from Mitsubishi. Suddenly, the obvious choice.
Oh, look at me back in the 60s, working up a sweat. Oh, and that's how I used to pump iron.
Not today. Today we're exercising more and eating less red meat. But red meat is a great source of iron.
Only Kellogg's Bran Flakes has high fiber and 100% of the iron recommended today.
So now I pump a little iron outside and inside. You know, I haven't felt this good since I burned that bathing suit.
Kellogg's Bran Flakes.
Every 3,000 miles, you can change your oil yourself, leave your car at the dealer, spend all day at the service station, or drive into Jiffy Lube with no appointment. In 10 minutes, the J-Team will change your oil with quality Pennzoil, replace the filter, lube the chassis, fill the important fluids, 14 quality services. Jiffy Lube turns an all-day oil change into a 10-minute family reunion.
Welcome to Jiffy Lube. We'll take care of you like family.
And it's light's less filling, and it's.
That's it for today, Mike. Raleigh, finish it up.
And it tastes great, too.
No matter how you pitch him, there's only one light beer, Miller Lite.
Suddenly, there's a delightful new car that suits your style without picking your pocket. Introducing the all-new 1989 Mirage from Mitsubishi. Suddenly, the obvious choice.
You know, Joe, that must be the toughest part of being a DH. You can't go out and work off your aggressions defensively now after a tough at-bat.
No question about that, but it's also the position. If you're an outfielder, you're doing the same thing with Evans, except you're out there. Maybe the middle infielder can get... As a catcher, it goes right out of your mind because you got to worry about the next hitter and working the pitcher. But a guy like Evans, now, he's got to sit there and he's got to simmer. I mean, he's like in the microwave.
In a sense, I guess it's like the equivalent of being a starting pitcher and you're knocked out in the first inning and now you wait for 4 or 5 days before you go back out there. Where's Jim Rice? He's hit in 6 straight. He'll be followed by Ellis Burks and then Jody Reed. You talk about liking Fenway. Here's the guy. He has hit for a higher average at Fenway than he has in road games in each of his 15 years in the major leagues.
If you saw that game last night, and we did, he pulled 2 pitches for base hits, 1 a home run.
Backs off, takes a strike.
He doesn't believe that.
And talking about Rice and how well he hits, .310 here at Fenway, here are some of the other averages at Fenway Park for Boston. Strike. Wade Boggs, .382. Dwight Evans, .313. Mike Greenwell, .333. Ellis Burks, .347. Jody Reed, .330. They love it here. 2-2.
You're seeing a pretty good example of what the player means when he says there are really 3 strike zones you worry about: the pitchers, yours, and the umpires, because Rice is really not sure of the strike zone.
2 balls, 2 strikes. That's a question. With all of the other pregame analysis, you're catching Boddicker or Robinson. Would you say to him before the game, look, we got McCoy behind the plate. He usually gives you the outside corner. You do go over that?
Well, if he's a guy who hasn't been consistent, I mean, you wouldn't know what McCoy's going to do today.
No.
But you might say, hey, you know, he's got a big strike zone, so let's find out early. That kind of thing. Sure you would.
All right, Rice aboard with a walk, and here is Ellis Burks.
In fact, the Red Sox were talking about McClellan's game last night, that he switched. I mean, Gedman, I was talking to him about it. He said, yeah, because I asked him. I thought he was kind of squeezing him, and then he kind of opened up his strike zone. He said he switched from the 6th inning on.
Ellis Burks with Jim Rice at first. Nobody out in the 2nd inning. 2-1 Red Sox. On the inside corner, 0-1. Ellis Burks, not only with some sock, but he also has speed. He's stolen 19 out of 24. He might be the fastest Red Sox base stealer since the days of Tommy Harper. 0-1. Fouled away.
When they talk about a complete player, you would certainly put him in that category.
Well, with 19 stolen bases, if he gets to 31, they will dust off the name Tommy Harper back in 1973. So Ellis Burks with power, good defense, great speed. And that's a pretty pertinent remark by Tom Kelly. It's just a matter of time. 0-2. 1-2 to Ellis Burks. He kept the ball down and in on him all during that at-bat. That's the 2nd strikeout for Jeff Robinson. He had a high of 11 this year.
That's the fork ball that he's throwing, or that Bosch ball, whatever you want to call it. Boddicker throws it. He learned it from Ray Miller, but Robinson's got this, not really a split finger. He lets up on it.
Well, it has done the job with Burks. Now we'll see what happens with Jody Reed. Reed moving over from short to 2nd. Marty Barrett sitting this one down. 1 ball and no strike. Barrett had 2 hits in his last 25 at-bats, so they decided to rest him. They put Owen at short and moved Jody over. He's hit in 9 of his last 13. 32 of the last 35 games he started at shortstop, but I guess it's an easier transition. It's certainly an easier throw.
Only problem he's had, he talks about, is the bunt play. He doesn't want to be out of position because you got to get over there from 2nd base to cover 1st base, and he wants to be sure that he's alert to that, because the shortstop, you just worry about sneaking over to 2nd base.
The thing that would bother me too, shortstop, you're always seeing the runner.
Yeah.
2nd base, you have your back to him, and that's scary.
You hear him, and it's got to sound like the 515 coming down at you.
2 balls and no strikes to Jody Reed. Missed with that pattern and keeping the ball inside, and he's behind 3-0. The Yankees leading Minnesota 2-0. Jack Clark scored on a fielder's choice and hit by Wayne Tollison. Henderson's fly ball just picked up another. So they lead 2-0. And there's ball 4. So Robinson, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. He has 1 out in the 2nd inning, and Rich Gedman coming up. The fulfillment of a kid's dreams. As Sparky Anderson looks on, Rich Gedman was talking about it. He really relates to the crowds and the hysteria here in Boston. He's from Worcester, and he said, I'll never forget what it was like when I was 8 years old and the 1967 Sox were going all the way. And he said, I see the kids today and I think, my gosh, 21 years ago, I was right where they are.
Remember the days of the knothole gang in St. Louis? They used to be so great, where you could get in there and we'd sit in left field, and then like this youngster right here. Who knows? He may be the next Rich Gedman.
No balls, one strike. And he throws his bat, a roller into the hole. Trammell back to Whitaker for the fourth. Big play for the second out.
It's almost like a hit-and-run play with nobody running. Why you do that, it's really a mystery, because it wasn't a two-strike pitch, and he almost got a base hit out of it. Trammell has to make a good play.
Hard slide by Jody Reed to make sure Whitaker didn't even have any idea of trying to double up Gedman. And here's Wade Boggs now. Runners at the corners. Rice at third, Gedman at first. Boggs hit back to the box in the first inning.
And he swung at the first pitch. That puts a thought in your mind.
Ball one.
Boggs. I was going to say, then 1 ball and no strikes is when his percentages really show up. That's when he hits best.
And look at those numbers. 404 at Fenway against the Tigers. So he has to count his way 2-0. He's walked 80 times. We've already talked about the fact he rarely misses the ball when he swings, and consequently rarely strikes out. So you're really in trouble. 2 balls and no strikes. Ball 3.
He says he gets unaggressive until he gets 2 strikes, and then he says I get aggressive, unaggressive. I said, what does that mean? He said, it means I don't get anxious. When I have before 2 strikes, I'm more anxious than any time.
I don't know why he pitches to him. I
don't
really
either.
don't.
Walk him.
I sure would. In other words, if there were runners at second and third, they wouldn't even think about it.
That's
They'd
right.
have put him on. And first and third, why not do the same thing?
Well, he wasn't about to get a pitch to hit when he was 2-0, and then when he ran into 3-0 and he didn't bite at the 3-0 pitch, you know they were going to put him on.
All right, Spike on with the bases loaded.
Trammell not saying much more than, hey, if you're going to keep walking him, I understand about Boggs, but the other guys are on base because of the base on balls. We can't make a play for you. You're going to have to throw some strikes.
For Spike Owen, this is only the 6th start that he's made since the All-Star break, and he really has a chance to hurt. Yeah, Jim Rice at third, Rich Gedman at second, Wade Boggs at first. 2 out here in the second inning, and the Sox leading 2-1. Right.
They don't expect Spike to pull that ball. Murphy in center field is way over towards left center. A lot of room in right center field, as you can see. Look where Murphy is.
What power Owen has normally comes from the right side, not the left. That dipped in there nicely. 0-2 the count. You're talking about a hungry hitter. I always thought Spike was a nickname, period, but it actually turns out to be his mother's maiden name.
Makes him sound tough.
Oh, and how? 0-2. I mean, how's that sound? Somebody say, where'd you get that name Spike? Say, from my mother. It was her name. 1-2. The count is Spike Owen. 2 down, bases loaded in the second. Red Sox 2, Tigers 1, and the Yankees are winning 2-0 in Minnesota. Fastball hit to the left to Trammell. He'll shovel to Whitaker, and the damage is avoided. No runs, no hits, 3 left. It's still 2-1 Boston, and we'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Tonight on Hunter, deadly revenge. Smart fault sends the captain over the edge.
Charlie, put the gun down.
You better arrest me, Hunter. Hunter, tonight.
The world's fastest horses. North America's top drivers. The race of the year. Le Prix d'été 88, Sunday, August 21st at the Hippodrome Bluebonnets for a purse of $600,000. Exciting same-day eliminations and finals. Le Prix d'été, 1:30 Sunday at the Hippodrome Bluebonnets. Live the thrill that only Bluebonnets can offer.
Betty Crocker's new potato medleys are like nothing before. It's the vegetables that make them taste like so much more. Mushrooms and green beans. It's Betty's potatoes with the vegetable teeth. New potato medleys.
Oh, what a meal for your family.
Hamburger Helper lasagna turns plain hamburger into a delicious Italian meal. Curly noodles, rich sauce. Hamburger Helper
Makes a great meal.
On the next edition of Focus, I ask you this question. What if they took the art supplies out of the classroom, the sports teams off the fields, or say the materials out of the shop classes? What would you do? Well, a couple of gentlemen will be joining me to talk about paying for the school budget in the Peru School District. Dan Hickey, the Peru School District Superintendent, and Paul Green, the School Board Vice President, join me on the next edition of Focus. Please do.
Come home to Channel 5 WPTZ, Plattsburgh, North Pole, Burlington.
Well, Billy Muffet, the pitching coach, wants to make sure he gets the message across to young Robinson, and it's got to be throw some strikes. And he is, whatever he saw, he is pretty adamant about it. Not that he's chewing them out at all, but just making a point.
Big crowd, as usual at Fenway. They've drawn 32 straight crowds of 30,000 or more, and they've gone over the 1,000,006 mark. Tommy Brookins fouled it away. We mentioned earlier that Detroit has 12 10-year veterans. There you can see just the draw, the magnetism of the Red Sox at home. Tommy Brookins, 35 years old on Wednesday. Passed. He's missed 20 games this year.
Rich Gedman is one of the real movers as far as catchers are concerned. I mean, he doesn't make any bones about it. When he wants it on an outside corner, he literally jumps over there. There he goes.
0-2. And there's a hopper short hop by Boggs to take care of him. One down. Friends, this telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Lou Whitaker.
Boggs has really worked on his fielding, and of course, he's such a good hitter. He's never going to get the credit he deserves because they're all going to talk about Boggs and talk about his hitting.
Whitaker flied to center in the first inning. He's really struggling. 2 hits in his last 32 at-bats. 8 home runs, 43 RBIs. During his career, he has hit very well against Boston. He has a .313 career average. On deck, Pat Sheridan. It's 2-1 Boston, top of the third. One thing about Whitaker, and if you were Lou, you would have to be perplexed about it. If he started at 1983, you saw he hit .320. His average has come down every year until this year he's down to .263. That's a little disconcerting. And now he's 2 for 33.
He really spotted that ball well. It was a breaking ball, took something off inside off the strike zone. Even if he hits it, Whitaker's not going to drive that ball at all. He would have hit that right off the handle. Watch where this ball is. I mean, it is a good pitch. Look at here. Boy, I love to see those kind of pitches.
And just to conclude the thought on Whitaker, he's 31 years old. He figures to play for quite a while.
Gates Brown was his mentor when Gates was coaching over there, and Gates would always be on turn. Be quick with the bat.
Strike to Sheridan, and the count 1-1. 2 down, top of the third. Red Sox 2, Tigers 1. One thing, the Tigers are extremely difficult to sweep in a series, as we see Howard Johnson gets Mets on the board. 5-2 Montreal in the 6th. Chopper to the right side. Jody Reed is there. That's an easy inning for Mike Boddicker. He's now retired 6 in a row, and at the end of 2.5, Boston 2, Detroit 1.
The problem with foreign oil is that the price and supply goes up and down. To get off this roller coaster, America can use its own coal and nuclear energy. America can count on coal and nuclear energy.
Sir, would you choose hamburger A, a Wendy's hamburger that's made fresh, or B, a pre-made hamburger that's been sitting around?
I'll take A.
Really?
No, B. I said B.
No, you didn't, sir. You said
Most people prefer fresh hamburgers like Wendy's, the best burgers in the business.
When you buy a Super Color Special TV antenna from Radio Shack, you get a great value, just $21.88. Installation's easy because Radio Shack has everything you need. Best of all, you get Super Color's advanced dual drive for the clearest picture possible. Reception so lifelike, it's incredible. And you get it in time for football.
Great picture, huh, Howie?
Yeah? The Super Color Special TV antenna, just $21.88, only at Radio Shack.
When I played baseball, I could hit the ball halfway to China. So I figured I could do the same thing with a golf ball. No way. But after digging up some turf, there's nothing we like better than cold Miller Lite. It's less filling, and it's got that big taste us hackers appreciate. Where'd that go?
No matter where you play, there's only one light beer, Miller Lite.
Next time I'm going to use a driver.
Americans buy lots of imported cars. Isn't it nice to know that Napa has the parts right here when you need them? Don't miss the boat on parts for imports. Come to Napa. Your neighborhood Napa Auto Parts store has more than 125,000 parts for the typical American car.
54-year-old Sparky Anderson, who was at the helm with Cincinnati when they defeated the Red Sox 4-3 in the '75 World Series. He knows how tough his team is. They've only been swept twice this year by Oakland and Minnesota. The schedule shows that the last 6 road games, actually 7 that the Tigers play, will be against Baltimore and Cleveland, and their last home series, their last series of the year, against the Yankees. Dwight Evans to start it off. Popped it up on the right side. Coming in is Chet Lemon. 1 away.
That makes 47 pitches for Jeff Robinson, and then keeping with the political conventions, NBC projects that to be 206 pitches.
Never happened. Once again, we'd like to remind our viewers we'll be selecting the NBC Miller Lite Player of the Game at the conclusion of the ball game. We will not project the winner of that. Here's Mike Greenwell. Red Sox had one of those scary things happen the other night. Roger Clemens was running in the outfield. Greenwell was shagging some fly balls, and they collided. And Clemens had a bruised shoulder, and Greenwell a severely bruised left thigh. You realize before a game how many different kinds of accidents can occur, especially because it's a boring day-after-day routine.
Guys are hitting infield balls, batting practices going on, guys are standing around the outfield, and some of them get very playful.
Did you ever get hurt before a game?
Oh, yeah. I got hit right in the face with a line drive in a Pepper game. I was walking by. Cracked my jaw.
1 ball, 1 strike to count. Ball 2. 2-1 to Greenwell. 1 out in the third. Red Sox 2, Tigers 1. Todd Benzinger on deck.
You know, Greenwell says there's a lot of George Brett in his swing, but I don't know. I don't see it.
How about that? You see that?
I see the way he hits it, yeah, but
that
not his
reminds
swing.
you of Brett, huh? That bullet to right. He's going for 2 on that bad wheel, and he's in there.
I tell you, he's going to have a Greenwell swing rather than a Brett swing. He followed Brett as a youngster in Fort Myers, and he says that he got some of the Brett swing in him, but I tell you, when they tried to have him hit the ball all over the ballpark, he said, I just want to hit it hard, and I mean, he hits it hard. And that bruised thigh, man, when you see extra bases, I'm telling you, I don't see anything wrong with that bruised thigh now. Look at him dig.
And how? Double for Mike Greenwell will bring up Todd Benzinger with 1 out in the 3rd inning. The number 2 man in the majors, leading the way anyway for the Red Sox, who are number 2 behind Minnesota. For Greenwell, he has 30 doubles. 4-1.
See, you look at this Red Sox ball club: Greenwell, Benzinger, Burks, Reed, Owens. I mean, that's a young ball club.
Oh, and how? They're going in the right direction with youth, and they're starting to win, and just in time up here. Strike. Red Sox 2, Tigers 1 in the 3rd. Mike Greenwell with his 30th double. The 2nd man on the team behind Boggs, who has 31 of them. 2-1.
They got a picture of Benzinger on the center field scoreboard that you would think it was for the American Legion tournament. Look at that.
That's right. He looks 16.
Look at that.
Todd Benzinger. Actually, he's a decrepit 25. He was born in Dayton, Kentucky. Two balls and 2 strikes. 1 out in the 3rd. Red Sox 2, Tigers 1. And that swung on and missed. It'll go to the backstop. Everybody is safe with Greenwell advancing to 3rd. And if that wasn't a split finger, that was some kind of a sinker that really disappeared.
He missed it. He swung over that ball by about 1.5 feet. Here, take a good look at it. It's a split finger. You can see it. And Noakes, he didn't really try to cradle that ball. He doesn't know where it goes. He tried to catch the ball. Really, that ball, you almost have to box it. And he misses it by 1.5 feet. I'm telling you. Look at that. Oh, he missed that by a good 2 feet.
It's a wild pitch. So Benzinger is at first. Greenwell is at 3rd, 1 out, and Jim Rice at the plate. Rice walked in the 2nd inning. He's hit in 6 straight, fouled it away.
It's unpredictable where that ball's going to bounce, but with that man at second base, you got to get those arms out there like it's going to hit you in the chest and keep it in front of you. Very rarely can you backhand catch that ball, but that's happening with all the catchers, and it's a very expensive play.
Now Noakes can't say to himself, I better not call for that again. I got a man at 3rd. He has to come right back with it.
Well, if he does come back with it, does the pitcher have confidence to throw it, or does he say to himself, I'm going to have to get a little bit higher because he's not going to be able to block it like the last one?
0-1 to Jim Rice. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Jeff Robinson, in the heat, had to make a lot of pitches in the 2nd inning. Remember, he walked 3, and he survived it. Now he's in trouble here with 1 out, runners at 1st and 3rd. Ground ball down to short. There's the feed to Whitaker. Back to 1st, double play. So the old reliable weapon, 4 Gold Gloves for Trammell and 3 for Whitaker. And now here's a look back at a very special Olympic moment.
An Olympic moment brought to you by the Prudential, going above and beyond to meet your needs in insurance and other financial services.
Montreal, 1976. Italy's Klaus DiBiase is favored to win the Olympic platform diving competition. His dives are nearly perfect. He wins his 3rd successive gold medal. Klaus DiBiase, the greatest diver in Olympic history.
If you can dream it, you can do it. Today, the Prudential can show you a new world of financial opportunities. Look to the rock for mutual funds, stocks, and bonds. Feel its strength in CDs, insurance, and mortgages. With the right choices, the right guidance, the sky's the limit. The Prudential. Your rock in financial services.
With only 1 month to the lighting of the flame, the U.S. Olympic basketball team faces the sports elite. All-Americans Danny Manning and J.R. Reed lead the USA against all-stars of the NBA, including Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley. A true test for the U.S. Olympic team on NBC Sports World.
That's a long time we've played together. That's some stat right here in Fenway Park in 1977. On this double play, watch how Whitaker uses the bag to protect himself. Anytime you can get that bag between you and the runner, you're protected. Now, Trammell gives him a good ball to handle. Watch Whitaker what he does. Steps on the bag and then back he goes. Easy double play. Boy, I remember when they broke in, Vin. They were knocking the bats right out of their hands, and now Trammell has become almost you could put him as a power hitter.
Yeah, sure. 7 Gold Gloves between them. In fact, when you look up the middle, the Tiger defense with Trammell 4 Gold Gloves, Whitaker 3 Gold Gloves, and Dwayne Murphy 6 Gold Gloves. That's 13 in the important area from the pitcher spot out to the center field wall. That's a key to the Tiger success. They have allowed the fewest number of unearned runs in the league, and they've only made 1 error in the last 20 games, so they're tough. They are really something defensively.
They don't give you anything. Pat Sheridan had the best description, I thought. He says, we're a bunch of how-come guys. Everybody says, how come you guys do this? How come you did that? I mean, nobody's going to knock your socks off with the statistics, but they just give you 3 outs, which is what you're allowed. They don't give you anything.
And they probably have the best starting pitching staff, certainly in the American League. The Big 5 is really just that, especially now that Jack Morris is back on the beat. 0-1 to Alan Trammell, then Dave Bergman, followed by Chet Lemon. 2-1 Boston in the 4th. Trammell flied to center in the first inning, 0 for 1. He was 9th in the league when the game began, hitting at .320. That's a strike. That's another interesting point about the balance amongst the Tigers. Take another look at it. You can see Trammell leads. Salazar, a surprise to be right back of him with Evans out in front home run. I think the biggest surprise is Salazar.
Oh, I agree with you, Vin, but that's such a telling statistic. 5 guys with 10 or more home runs, 5 guys with more than 30 RBIs. Well, you put it under a heading of balance.
Big chopper to shortstop. Spike has to wait for the bounce, and the throw got him.
That was not an easy play because he knew it was going to be close, and he got enough on that throw. He really threw it hard.
So Trammell rolls to short, 1 away in the 4th.
He has to wait for that bounce. Now he knows he's got to gun it, and he does.
Boddicker has retired 7 in a row, and Dave Bergman, who walked and scored the Tiger run in the 2nd inning at the plate. Breaking ball strike. Bergman with Chet Lemon on deck. The bunt. It's a good bunt because Boddicker fell down, base hit. Mike Boddicker slipped, went down on his hands and knees, and he might have hurt himself.
He's going to take a little bit of time to get up here. He broke hard. He's in real pain. Here comes Joe Morgan. Looks like it's his left leg.
Trying to go in 2 directions at once, trying to correct from his follow-through towards the plate to suddenly twist and get to his left. Watch this.
This will tell it. Drags it right past him. Like he fell on it.
The very first step he took with his left foot, it seemed he was on the side of the left foot. That threw him off balance, and then he went down. And it has to be that left foot. That's what he twisted as soon as he made the move.
And you know, it's interesting that Dave Bergman is batting 4th, and I want you to name another cleanup hitter in either league who will bunt for a base hit in the 4th inning.
That's right. Did a 2-1 game in Fenway Park.
Now, he really comes set. Now, his right foot will be on the ground, but when he takes that step, Ben, right there.
Watch the foot.
Yeah, right there.
There it goes.
He's on the side, and that's when he loses it.
He is back up on his feet, very gingerly testing that left foot and ankle. And, of course, as a right-hand pitcher, when he makes his stride, all of his weight will be on that left foot.
You don't want anybody out there compensating. To try to ease up because that's where the injury comes in.
Now, if you are Chet Lemon, would you not come up and perhaps lay one down again?
I would be thinking about it. I certainly would think about it, yes.
Sure. Lemon this year, he has sacrificed. It's a 2-1 ball game. And if you're Sparky, you might very well say, okay, big guy, if you say you're okay, we're going to test you just to make sure.
That would not be a bad play.
Even though you do have the inviting green monster in left field, you'd find out right away about Boddicker. And then you have Matt Noakes on deck. We'll see.
And if he did, it would also make him think about it the rest of the ball game, or at least as long as he's out there.
Boggs is not thinking bunt. He's back to a normal depth, so they don't expect Detroit to do it. 4-1. Lemon single to left field in the second inning. And then Matt Noakes, who has been a terror for the Red Sox to contend with, he's on deck. 1 ball, no strikes. Pretty good breaking ball. Oh, the bottom dropped out of that thing, although maybe that was a splitter. I'm not sure.
That could have been that Fosh ball he throws, which is a combination change-up fork ball.
1 ball and 1 strike to Lemon. So Joe Morgan watching his pitcher throw a couple of pretty good breaking balls. And the count 1-2 to Chet Lemon. Dave Bergman at first base. Bergman is not a threat to run. He's 0 for 1, and that was a busted hit and run play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ground foul. So the Tigers disdain the bunt with Boddicker. When that youngster Jim Abbott, if he makes it with the California Angels, the inspirational youngster with one hand.
Kid from Michigan.
It will be interesting how many big leaguers or minor leagues even bunt on him. Ground ball to short, the feed for 1, and they get the double play. No runs, a hit, nobody left. And at the end of 3.5 innings, it remains. Red Sox 2, Tigers 1.
Come on, Dad. You bought this Toyota Camry because it's got a new V6.
No, the room.
Dad, you did buy it because it's got a V6.
Oh, I bought it because I wanted an affordable Camry for years.
Charlie.
No, really. I bought it because you like to look good going to church.
Charlie.
I bought it because... Morning, Reverend. Because it's a V6.
The powerful new Camry V6. Toyota quality. Who could ask for anything more?
Bowling in the USA. Bowling in the USA.
We're having a party. This weekend, save 50% or more on bowling and enter our Bowling in the USA sweepstakes. Win award-winning Jeep Cherokees named 4x4 of the year again. Trips to the Showboat Hotel and Casino. Over 70,000 prizes.
Bowling, bowling, bowling in the USA. We're back bowling, bowling, bowling in the USA.
Thank you, everybody. That's it for today.
After a long day of eating hot lead, there's nothing better than drinking a cold Miller Lite. Light sure tastes great, and it really is less filling.
Shoot, there's only one light beer, Miller Lite.
Hey, Joe, give me another. That didn't fill me up at all.
How can you improve something this great, like Thompson's Water Seal? Well, Thompson's could apply itself, or keep any rain from hitting your house. Instead, we've made it waterproof better. Introducing new and improved Thompson's Water Seal. 50% more active ingredients now protect wood, brick, and concrete from water damage with a lot more waterproofing power. So if you thought Thompson's couldn't be improved, we proved it could be. Thompson's, the first name in lasting protection.
Well, nothing will make you smile more than a double play, and that's what Mike Bodiger is doing when it looked like he might have hurt himself, but apparently he's all right. Been a while we got a chance here. Al Kaline is here with George Kell to do the Tiger games. Thinking about his dad, Nick Kaline, who's in the Glen Burnie Hospital in Maryland. He sent a note up, I'd like to say hi and give him all my love.
And all of us send our prayers for a speedy recovery to Nick at the other end of this telecast.
Yeah, he's watching the game, but right now, his Tigers are trailing 2-1.
Ellis Burks, followed by Jody Reed and then Rich Gedman, checking in against Jeff Robinson. Ellis struck out in the second inning, 0 for 1. And hammers it to left, base hit. Pat Sheridan up with it and gets it back in. So the leadoff man gets aboard.
You don't think he forgotten about that last time at bat when he swung at that ball inside? He was ever aggressive. That first pitch that was close, boom, he lowers the boom on it.
So the Red Sox 2 runs, 4 hits. The Tigers 1 run, 2 hits. And now Jody Reed, who walked in the second inning.
This is not a hit-and-run ballpark. You know, one swing you can pick up 2 runs, but they got a combine now with Burks at first and Reed in the batter's box, and they've got the infield thinking.
Burks, 19 stolen bases. Strike, 0-1. As we said, that is not part or a major part of the Red Sox attack. The team has only stolen 47 bases. But Burks with 19, certainly a factor. They're just not a running team, and playing in this ballpark, relying on the home run, you can understand it. And he's going on a pitch out. Noakes down to Trammell. They got him.
And that would be the only way to get him on the pitch out, because even on the pitch out, Mack behind the plate had a little bit of trouble. I mean, he double hitched to get that ball out of his glove. It was a good ball to handle, and he really had something on the throw. So they read it right. Sparky, who calls pitch outs, and that ball's there in plenty of time.
Only the 6th time this year that Ellis Burks has been caught. And with 1 out, Jody Reed, who walked in the second inning, waiting. 1 ball, 1 strike. And another. 1-2.
Man, when you pitch out, you're the Red Sox now. You got to go back. Do they have our signs?
Oh,
Should we change them? Hey, somebody must have known something, and I'll say 90% of the time it's strictly a gut reaction.
1-2. And that's looped over short. That's going to fall for a base hit. Sheridan up with the ball. And, of course, for the Red Sox, they feel somewhat frustrated because they just lost a base runner. 5 hits for Boston. 1 out. Reed at first. And Rich Gedman checking in. So Joe Morgan perhaps hanging out a sign. Al Bumbry coaching at first. Rack slider over at third. Gedman hit into a force play in the second inning. 4-1. 2-1 Red Sox. Bottom of the 4th. Jeff Robinson, Mike Boddicker.
If you're wondering about the infield conditions, the Tigers say, hey, this thing is fast compared to what we play on, but the grass is just normal. In front of home plate, it's a bit hard, but that grass is not going to slow that ball down at all.
Two balls and no strikes to count. So Jeff Robinson struggling a bit. He ranks among the league leaders in pitching, in victories, earned run average, winning percentage. We told you about the opponent's batting average, the lowest of any starter in the American League. Struggling a little bit today, however. And he's behind. 3-0.
Making a lot of pitches, Vin. He has no real pattern to his wildness either. I mean, he's been all over.
Wade Boggs on deck. 1 out in the inning.
Here's one of those spots now. 3-1, 1 out. Run and hit, or do you hold him?
Well, just looking at Gedman, being a left-hand hitter, he has struck out about less than 15% of the time.
I'd run him.
And he's going. And foul back. I don't know. I guess the managers have all that clocked in their heads because they see the hitters every day. But I know sitting up in the booth, that's always the first thing I think of. What percentage is the man striking out or making contact? Minnesota got well in a hurry to tie up the Yankees 2-2 in the bottom of the 4th inning. Remember, the Yankees began the day 4 games behind Detroit and a half a game behind Boston.
Big pitch, strike him out and throw him out.
He went 3-1. He certainly figures to go 3-2.
Oh, you'd be back there thinking he's going to go, setting yourself up to where he's going to go.
And one other thing, Gedman is grounded into 5 double plays. So with all of that in your footlocker, you're certainly looking for Reed to go, and so is Robinson.
And what he's doing is cutting down that lead just enough to maybe where Noakes can make the play because he can't pitch out here.
Noakes has pretty good percentage. He's thrown out 40% of the runners. And he's not going on foul ball.
Yeah, you say he's not going, but I want to tell you something. He held that ball a little bit longer, and he took the juice right out of Jody Reed's legs. You could see that Reed was ready to go, and then all of a sudden it's like the air going out in the balloon because I was watching him to see what he was going to do, and Robinson, you got to give him a lot of credit on that. He held that ball an extra couple of beats.
Even on a day like today, then you can freeze a runner.
Oh, he froze him, yeah.
There he goes, and it's ball 4. He might have been so intent on holding Reed on, he lost the strike zone. He is also wobbly anyway, as far as his control is concerned. He has walked 4. He also had a strikeout, but a wild pitch allowed the hitter to reach. So with all of his troubles, Jeff Robinson is still doing pretty well. It's 2-1 Boston.
He's going to have that bullpen up, though, because he is wobbly.
Boggs hit back to the box and walked. Ball 1.
He's getting behind all these hitters, and he's made a lot of pitches.
Boy, that's a killer. In the 4th inning, he's made 70 pitches, and you have 1 out. Tom Henkel down in the bullpen, heating up.
He pitched last night, so the bullpen is not that well rested. I mean, the middleman, the guy who's got to keep the game close.
Billy Muffet out there talking to Jeff Robinson. For Robinson, he just has to throw strikes. He knows he's not going to finesse a hitter like Boggs. He's going to almost have to challenge him. And Sparky certainly is full aware of that. You were talking before about Boggs and a 1-0 count.
His average is .509, 27 hits and 53 at-bats. I mean, you talk about discipline in the batter's box. With 2 strikes, he's a tough hitter. But with the count 1 ball and no strikes, .509, you don't hit that good in Little League.
So Jeff Robinson is in a lot of trouble here. Foul back. 1-1. The only thing to do if you're the catcher is not to move around the plate and to try and change speeds with a hitter like this, I guess.
You got to figure he's going to hit it from right center to the left field line, and that's what you have to attack. He can go inside out, but I would keep that ball away from him. Stack my defense like they have and make sure he hits that way.
1-1. Ball 2. 2-1 to count. Against Doyle Alexander last Saturday, Wade had a couple of base hits to left field.
And I asked him about that. He said, I took 2 fastballs for strikes, and he threw me a knuckleball. I got to base it on a knuckleball.
2-1. Fastball, and that actually went by him. He didn't get around on that one.
He was trying to go the opposite field. You could see his weight.
That's one of those collector's items. He swung and missed. 23 times all year he has swung and missed, so we should take another look at it.
See him try to go that way, you can see.
That goes to the museum.
You save that one. Cooperstown.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Fouled away.
That's another thing, isn't that? The great hitter always fights off the good pitch.
He was definitely going to the opposite field. He had made up his mind regardless of where it was, and you could see him inside out it. That good hitter does fight off that good pitch.
You wonder, too, if he is tiring at all. And, of course, you see that they do get him. He's human. 16 double plays. But you wonder, even if Robinson gets him, if he expends almost all of his energy here. 2-2. Got him. Big play.
There's Cooperstown right there. I mean, you don't see that too often, the contact hitter.
What did we say? He had swung and missed 22 times in over 2,000 pitches, and we saw him swing twice and miss in 1 at-bat. It's a Rembrandt.
It is. It'll make the highlight.
24 times in, oh my gosh, 2,150 pitches at least.
Swung under that pitch, trying to hit it the opposite field. It was right on that outside corner. Good live fastball. That could be a slump for him to swing twice and miss.
4 strikeouts for Jeff Robinson, and now here's Spike Owen. And he lifts it to center. Dwayne Murphy is there waiting. And what a great bit of pitching by young Jeff Robinson. Dispose of Boggs and Owen, and the Sox leave 2 with 2 hits. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Sunday, a baffling murder on live TV. Can Raymond Burr prove the man who fired the gun wasn't the killer? Burn, Perry Mason's case of a shooting star.
Be at Napierville Raceway, Saturday and Sunday, August 20th and 21st, for the Napierville Labatt 50 National Open, sanctioned by the NHRA. See funny cars, jet cars, dragsters, and more than 400 entries seeking a share of the $80,000 purse. This is one of the hottest, fastest speeding competitions you'll ever see. The Napierville Labatt 50 National Open on August 20th and 21st at the Napierville Raceway, exit 21 on Auto Route 15.
This should give you some idea of the difference between beer and Genesee Cream Ale. Smooth Genesee Cream Ale. It's not the same old brewski.
Starburst, the chewy candy with the intense tart and tangy fruit flavors. The more you chew, the more flavor bursts through. Starburst, it's a total burst out.
Follow the Expos on WPTZ in Plattsburgh.
The game of the week is brought to you by Toyota. There's quality, then there's Toyota quality. Who could ask for anything more? We have a moment here before we get back to play in the 5th inning to touch bases and go around the horn some of the baseball highlights of the week. Gary Carter became the 59th man to hit 300 or more home runs. He hit it against the Cubs. The drought, 225 at-bats, finally ended. Don Sutton released by the Dodgers the other day after losing the night before in Cincinnati. And the Oakland A's at one time enjoyed an 11-game lead in June. Their streak now is 8.5 over the Twins. For Don Sutton, released does not mean retired. I would think he might very well be picked up, certainly by an American League team, before the year is over, and maybe even a National League team.
I think there are going to be a few changes. It always happens in August.
Matt Noakes, Darrell Evans, and then Dwayne Murphy.
Then let me add something that around the horn. Minor League Baseball, 1987, the attendance exceeded 20 million. And the Cinderella team of 88, those Buffalo Bisons, are going to top the million mark in attendance this coming Wednesday with 10 games remaining. That's a pretty good tribute.
It's really remarkable that minor league baseball has posted such great attendance figures considering how many minor league teams have disappeared. And yet, It's gone, what, last year over 20 million?
Oh, yeah. They did it. It was the first since 1953, and they had 116 fewer clubs.
So here we are with Darrell Evans and the tying run at first base, Matt Noakes, and I guess they're all to be heartily congratulated.
That Buffalo story's a great story.
Yeah, that stadium's magnificent.
Beautiful. Bob Rich. He's also involved with the Wichita tournament, the NBC tournament, National Baseball Congress.
Darrell Evans struck out, remember, called out in the second inning on a fastball that Larry McCoy said caught the outside corner, and Evans usually wears out Boddicker. He has 3 home runs and a .390 career batting average against him.
It almost seems like 2 weeks ago when he was called out. Just think how long he had to simmer.
That's right. 1 ball and no strikes. Matt Noakes standing at first. Noakes, by the way, 0 for 1. Bolden and Smithson, Bolden the left-hander, down in the bullpen. Remember, Boddicker fell down last inning. They want to make sure he's okay. The ground ball to Reed, to Owen, back to Benzinger. Double play.
Once again, he got one in the 4th inning. He gets one here in the 5th inning. Thought for a minute that Noakes might run into that ball because it looked like just a perfect double play ball right from the minute that Evans hit it. Here it is. Now, it's a big hop. Good ball to handle. Perfect toss. Let her high. Not even close.
So with 2 down in the 5th inning, the batter will be Dwayne Murphy. One thing the Red Sox certainly worried about Boddicker when he fell down. He had 4 different serious injuries last year. The bunt foul. In fact, he had to leave 4 games last year due to injuries, and he also missed a start to a strained back. He's had strained knee, bad elbow, back spasm, and a pinched nerve in the back and in the neck. So when Boddicker went down in a heat, they were worried about him. And maybe Murphy decided to test him with that bunt, but it was a little late. The guy who should have tested him was Lemon.
Boddicker broke off about 4 steps and then stopped when Murphy tried the bunt.
Just missed, and the count 1-2. Red Sox 2, Detroit 1. We're in the top of the 5th inning. Off speed, roll wide to first. Benzinger scoops it out and takes it to the bag, and an easy inning. In fact, he has only faced more than 3 men in 1 inning. That was the second, and it's still 2-1 Boston.
Susan, can we talk?
Sure, Dad.
You notice anything different about Mom?
She's acting pretty wild for her age.
Well, I don't just mean the roller skates.
And the motor scooter. She even borrowed my new dress. Come on, Dad, what is it?
A balanced diet with the right vitamin nutrition helps people get more out of life. Some are finding Kellogg's Product 19. 100% of 12 vitamins and minerals. Feel good about yourself.
Not the, rubber dress.
Feel like 19 again.
Hold on. So, did you check out any other 4x4s before getting another one of these?
Sure. There were some a little cheaper.
So how come you stuck with Toyota?
Well, my old one never let me down. How many things can you say that about?
Yeah, but if you could have saved a few bucks.
Why take chances?
What chances?
You got any idea how far it is back to town?
Toyota quality. Who could ask for anything more?
Alpha team, aggressor tank spotted.
In a battle drill, you need horsepower, firepower, people power. That's teamwork.
Moving tank, back front, 2,000.
This team uses a computer, thermal sight, laser rangefinder.
Yeah.
When we win, the whole tank wins. The whole team wins. Not just one person.
Get an edge on life in the Army. He's going deep into
The Party Zone! Have a football party with plenty of Miller beers and Fritos corn chips and Lay's potato chips. Look for the Football Party Zone display. Turn your home into a football party zone.
In Ricky Rudd's high-torque V8, clean-running Quaker Safe with QSX provides unbeatable protection from wear and tear.
And the oil that protects my car on the track is the same oil you buy right off the shelf.
The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Montreal trying to cut the Mets lead to 4.5 games. Montreal playing very well. If they win that, they will have won 8 out of 11, while the Mets will have lost 7 of 11. Meanwhile, Tim Laudner's home run gives Minnesota a 3-2 lead over the Yankees at the end of 4. The Yankees are 4 back.
We should have told Tim McClellan we were going to use him as a backdrop. He could have been singing Happy Birthday. His young son, 2 years old today, he was telling us all about it.
King Cole?
Cole McClellan, 2 years old, and Daddy's here at Fenway Park.
Dwight Evans, Mike Greenwell, and Todd Benzinger in the bottom of the 5th inning. The Red Sox 2 runs, 5 hits, an error, which allowed the Tigers to get their only run. That was the overthrow by Spike Owen behind Boddicker covering on a play at first. Evans hit a 2-run home run in the 1st inning, flied to right last time up.
No way you can see the back of that batter's box, and Evans is digging a hole there. Where's the line?
What line?
Scully.
Baseball doesn't care.
Scully's dilemma.
That's right. Baseball never cares. Line drive to left field, base hit. So Evans 2 for 3. Jeff Robinson has been in trouble in every inning. And yet he's doing very well when all things considered. The Sox are only leading 2-1. One reason he's been able to get himself out of trouble, the Sox have left 6, and they're trying to pin him again. Mike Greenwell. Right. Greenwell flied to left and doubled to right. Greenwell has hit in 6 of his last 8. Big chopper into right field, base hit. Evans is on his way to 3rd. Runners at the corners with nobody out.
Remember, we said how hard it was in front of home plate. Now, the grass will not slow it down, but you'll get that big hopper, and there it was. Tell you, I used to look, that's one of the first things, and I still do out of habit, because you almost set your defense that way because you're going to get burned that way. Nothing Bergman could do. Now here comes Billy Muffet.
Interesting, at the start of the game, we were talking about the opponent's batting average, the lowest in the American League, just 194. If you look at the batting average today, the Red Sox are hitting 368 against him. So Jeff Robinson is really in trouble again. In the 1st inning, a 2-run home run to Evans. In the 2nd inning, he walked 3 and got out of the jam. In the 3rd inning, he gave up a double and a strikeout on a wild pitch and got a double play. In the 4th inning, a pitch out nailed a runner so that he gave up 2 hits and a walk and struck out Boggs to get out of the jam. And now in the 5th inning, it's another high wire act. 1st and 3rd and nobody out. And as you can see, he is not accustomed to being pushed around like this. He's already allowed 7 hits today in 4 innings plus.
Say, he's been pitching out of the stretch all afternoon.
So Benzinger, who struck out twice, but the 2nd time it was a wild pitch and he reached. Strike. How many times did you ever strike out in the game? Do you remember? Did you ever have one of those days you struck out 4 times?
No.
Evans at 3rd, Greenwell at 1st.
I think 3. 3 was the most.
Did you find yourself pressing?
Yes.
I'm just trying to read Benzinger's mind a little bit here.
You hope you put the bat on the ball rather than get the hit.
0-1. And he does. A high drive to center. Back goes Murphy on the track to leap in the air and one-handed. Evans scores. Greenwell back to 1st. 3-1 Boston. Boy, that'll make you forget about the strikeouts.
Yes, it will. He did what he had to do, and that's get that ball in the air, and she carried deep. Big sacrifice fly. Murphy gets back in good shape. It carries a little bit farther than he thinks because he makes the one-hand grab. He thought he ran out of room.
So a good play by Dwayne Murphy, who has 6 Gold Gloves. Evans carried in the run. And now the batter is Jim Rice. Rice has walked and hit into a double play. That's a strike. Remember, the Red Sox are trying to make it 24 consecutive victories at home. That would tie the 1978 Pirates. Then the only one other record left, the 1916 Giants, who won 26 in a row at home. But the Red Sox had better win a lot at home because 7 of their last 11 series are on the road. 3 of the last 4 on the road. They've got to do it here.
Beach ball has just bounced on the field. Watching Rice, Vin, Joe Morgan is really, it's kind of a dilemma because as soon as Rice steps in the batter's box, he's in scoring position. One swing of the bat to give you 2 runs, but the other side of the coin, a ground ball, and you got 2 outs.
1-1. Breaking ball in there. Rice didn't think so.
And McCoy's the one that called it. It wasn't to ask the first base umpire. He called it a strike all the way. Rice thought he had stopped, but apparently McCoy thought it was a called strike.
Hey, this is a serious question. You saw Rice give McCoy that look. 1 ball, 2 strikes. There goes the runner, and they stay out of the double play by that, and it's kicked by Brookins, and everybody is safe. So not only do they avoid the double play with Greenwell going, they get a bonus when Brookins kicks it.
Well, they were going to give Rice 2 swings, and after 2 swings, they were going to stay away from the double play, and they do pick up the bonus. What was your serious question?
The serious question was, naturally, every time you see a hitter look at an umpire, he's going to argue or dispute the call. Have you ever heard of a hitter looking at an umpire and saying, nice call?
No.
Good call?
No.
No.
No. I haven't. I don't even dream of it.
No, I just wondered. Here's Ellis Burks with 2 on and 1 out, 3-1 Red Sox in the 5th. Ball 1.
The Tigers are 50-17 when they don't make an error, 18-29 when committing 1 or more errors. 18-29.
Remember, we were talking earlier, they have allowed the least number of unearned runs in the league. Goes hand in hand with the good defense. A chopper to Brookins on the bag, and a bad throw to first. He didn't have to hurry it nearly as much as he did.
With Burks, the runner, I think Brookins really gave him too much credit as far as his speed because he was throwing it on the run. It would have been one of those where you run over to the bag and fire it, but he tried to do a kind of a modified quarterback pass because he threw it on the run, and he's way off target. Now watch what happens here. You would think he'd go right to the bag, brace himself, and gun it, but he keeps on moving, and he's way off target.
So that should have been a double play ball. The ball that Rice hit should have each been an out. So they are making young Jeff Robinson really work in the heat here in the 5th inning. And Jody Reed at the plate. Red Sox leading 3-1. You can understand just how tough Jeff Robinson is, why he is 13-5. Seeing him pitch on a day when he doesn't have his best stuff, and he is still quite somebody to contend with, and should be out of this inning. Ball 1.
Fenway's one of those parks that a 3-1 lead. I mean, it isn't that much because you get anybody that walks, or any right-hand hitter at least, who walks in the batter's box is in scoring position with that nice friendly left field wall.
Jim Rice at second, Ellis Burks at first. 2 out. Line drive, great catch by Tom Brookins. Wouldn't you know, the man who makes the error makes a brilliant catch, as good as you'll see anywhere. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 error, 2 left. A big play by Brookins.
I want a man with a slow hand.
New Schick Ultrex Plus, the only pivoting razor with a comfort strip and 1-push cleaning.
I want a slow hand.
Ultrex Plus, to shave you smoother than ever.
It's out there again, waiting. Allergy season. But allergies don't have to be a big problem. Not with fast-acting Benadryl. the most prescribed allergy medication ever.
You gotta be tough to keep 45 bears in line. But even us tough guys like a little extra comfort underneath. And that's why I switched from ordinary underwear to Hanes. I like the soft touch of Hanes pure cotton t-shirts and the smooth fit of Hanes comfort weave waistbands. Now I'm as nice to be around as a teddy bear. Right, guys?
I said, right, guys?
Right, Coach.
It's not just underwear. It's Hanes.
People who count on my brakes are important to me. So the people who work on my brakes are important to me.
The people who work on your brakes at Midas are trained brake experts. Remember, nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
It's harvest time in Matilda Bay. Time to gather the smooth refresher. Matilda Bay Original Fruit Cooler. A new special dry. Now you can pick and choose.
An American tradition continues. During the decade of the 70s, a slugger named Reggie helped Finley's A's capture 3 consecutive World Series championships. Now home run hero Jose Canseco powers the Oakland A's as they face the Red Sox, or the Astros meet the Pirates. The tradition is here. The memories are waiting.
The peaks and valleys of a Major League ball player. First, a valley. Then maybe another valley, and then the peak. A magnificent play. Tommy, 35 years old last Wednesday. The ability to endure and survive, that's the key, isn't it?
That is. I mean, that last inning was the Brookins hour, and here he is leading it off.
Now we'll see him with the bat. He grounded to third in the third inning. Tommy 0 for 1. Ball 1. Brookins, Whitaker, and Sheridan against Mike Boddicker, who's allowed 1 run and 3 hits in 5 innings. Line drive, and so Brookins does it all.
I tell you, you gotta like him because he's a real battler. I mean, you know when he won me over, when they had Chris Pataro and they sent him back to the minor leagues and everybody was giving him encouragement, Brookins said, don't feel so bad. Look at that. You're going down. You only have to beat me out. You gotta like a guy like that.
So Brookins at first with a leadoff hit. In the 6 innings, 3 of the 6 leadoff men have gotten aboard. And the Tigers have not really done anything against Boddicker. Remember, the only run they scored was on an error.
Last night, he tried to bunt for the base hit in a situation like this, even though it's a 3-1 score, Boston.
Minnesota giving the Yankees a bad time now as Gary Gaetti got in the act. Red Sox 3, Tigers 1, top of the 6th. Off speed, way out in front of it. Well, it was a classic when you can reduce the art of hitting to the simplicity that Ted Williams had it. And I always remember Ron Fairley saying to Ted Williams when Ted was the manager for the Washington Senators. And Ron said, I'm having a lot of trouble with the changeup. And Ted Williams said, well, then why do you swing at it? And I thought, oh, my gosh. It's so simple for him.
That's from an expert, too.
And that one's fouled.
And they're all alike. Musial telling Kurt Flood. Flood said, I'm having trouble. What's your secret? So when you see the ball, hit the tar out of it.
Lou Whitaker would like to know the secret. Look at that. 2 hits in his last 33 at-bats. So he is struggling. Smithson and Bolden are up again in the Sox bullpen. Brookins at first. 3-1 Red Sox in the 6th. Fouled away the other way.
Before the game, talking to Boggs about hitting, we were talking about the backup slider, and it was kind of a long thing. But he said something. He said, well, when you see the dot, that's what you hit. I said, what dot? No dot on a baseball. He said, the red dot. I said, what red dot? You mean the printing? He said, no, when you throw the slider, it spins the seams. It turns into a dot. You believe in that? No wonder I couldn't hit.
What do they think you are, a machine?
Yeah.
1 or 2.
Dot. What dot?
Not the I, cross the T.
Close the O's and close the A's, and you get a A in penmanship.
And he was way out in front of that thing. And Whitaker is standing in front of home plate, looked over at the Tiger dugout as if say, what in the world am I going to do now?
And even though that was a change of pace, that really stung him and hurt him because he hit it off the end of the bat. And that's just like, you know, remember the movies when you see that little rat put his tail in the electric shock?
Oh, sure.
That's the feeling.
He kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and that just missed. So you're right about Boddicker, slowest.
That's his description. He says, that's what I want to be remembered for, and he is really showing it to Lou Whitaker. I wonder what the radar gun says.
2 balls, 2 strikes. There's a fastball. Got him. After all those balloons, he drilled him with the express. What a bit of pitching. And it's a very troubled and confused Whitaker going back to the dugout.
And that's why the radar gun doesn't mean that much. It's not how hard you throw it, it's when you throw it and does it move. He has set him up with those change of speeds, and now he turns it over a little bit. Fastball in the outside corner, and that's all Whitaker could do is just take it and walk back to the bench.
That's 3 strikeouts for Mike Boddicker, and now Pat Sheridan, who's grounded out twice. Tommy Brookins at first, and he's out in front.
You know, it looks so simple, but I remember the one guy that used to have us all crazy was Stu Miller. You knew he was going to throw it, and you'd wait and wait and wait, and you would still be out in front. You would think he had a string attached to it and would yank you.
And he sails a breaking ball down at the ankles. 1 ball and 1 strike. It's grammatically incorrect, but it's certainly part of the game. They tell a hitter to wait on the ball, and it is so difficult to do.
Very difficult. You can go up there looking for a pitch like that, and you're still going to be in front of it with good motion.
There's the fastball, and he drills it the other way for a base hit. So Sheridan goes the other way with the fastball to put runners at first and second. That's the first time that the Tigers have had more than a runner on base in the same inning since the second when they scored their only run.
Looked like it was to the outside part of the plate, and Sheridan just went with it. It's a good look at it. It is. Outside corner, good hitting by Sheridan. Now they got the man up that they won up there, Trammell.
So Joe Morgan leading 3-1, but Trammell, the batter, flied to center, grounded to short. Remember, in the past, he has hit Boddicker very well. And he hits a high fly ball to left field. A fake catch by Greenwell. It is on top of the wall. Home run. Greenwell tried to make believe he could catch it to confuse the runners, but it didn't make any difference. That's the career home run for Alan Trammell. He really wears out Boddicker, and the Tigers have turned it around to lead 4-3.
And that's why they talk about Trammell in most valuable player category. In the first inning, 2 men out, nobody on. He flies to center field, leads off the 4th inning, and here with 2 men on, boom, first pitch, and he has given the Tigers the lead.
Trammell, just to bring you up to date, in his career is hitting .481 against Mike Boddicker. That was his career #1 home run. 4-3 Detroit in the 6th inning. And Dave Bergman has walked and singled. Remember, he bunted for a base hit. He hits it to straightaway to Ellis Burks. 2 down. Alan Trammell, as we mentioned earlier, if you took a poll of the Red Sox players, they would tell you he's the man for Detroit. And here's another look at it. Fastball.
Inside part of the plate, and he gets it towards there, and Boddicker knew it.
For Alan Trammell, his 12th home run. He now has 58 runs batted in. Breaking ball strike to Chet Lemon. Lemon has singled, and then following the bunt, when we wondered if he'd try and test Boddicker, he swung away and hit into a double play. So Sparky and his Tigers back atop the heat, 4-3. To look ahead, the Sox will have Rich Gedman, Wade Boggs, and Spike Owen. And the Sox have not been retired in order today. They've left 8 men in 5 innings. So they've been spinning their wheels so far. 1-2. Got it.
You saw Gedman motion sidearm when he patted his leg, and it got him.
4 strikeouts for Boddicker. However, 3 runs, 3 hits, and at the end of 5 1/2, Detroit 4 and the Red Sox 3.
You've seen how the advanced full-size Chevy half-ton stands up to Ford. And recently, maybe you've seen Ford's answer. But what you haven't seen is the latest news. Right now, full-size Chevy sales are on a rocket and growing faster than Ford's, which just goes to prove America knows the difference between a hot new truck and a lot of hot air. Make your switch to Chevy now with $500 cash back.
That's today's Chevy truck.
In Matilda Bay, there's only one thing that'll turn an ordinary night on the town into a night to remember. Matilda Bay Cooler.
Little nip of the smooth refresher.
Matilda Bay's a different kind of cooler, now made in the States. It's sensationally smooth, exotically refreshing, wildly unique. Try original fruit and new special dry. Take your taste away from the everyday.
Hi, I'm Mr. Goodwrench. I was GM trained in Chicago.
I'm Mr. Goodwrench. Got my GM training in Terrytown, New York.
No matter where he lives.
Phoenix, Arizona.
Portland, Oregon.
Mr. Goodwrench can get something not just any mechanic can get. GM training.
Had my GM training in Buffalo, New York.
I was GM trained in Atlanta. GM has training schools all over America.
Miami, Florida. Oklahoma City. Memphis, Tennessee.
So no matter where you are,
Houston, Texas.
no one knows your GM car better. No one.
You are cordially invited to an all-out birthday blitz in honor of NBC Sports World's 10th anniversary, followed by an evening of preseason football featuring the Broncos and Dolphins. Dress is formal. Black tie and helmet are suggested.
Alan Trammell puts the Tigers out in front 4-3. And, of course, the Red Sox, and particularly Lee Smith, would just forget about opening day here when in the 10th inning. Alan Trammell hit a similar shot into the screen above the monster, and Detroit won opening day by a run. However, it's a long way from opening day. Game number 116 for the Red Sox. So they have 46 left after today. And the old story, waste not, want not. The Red Sox have wasted 8 men on base in 5 innings, and they find themselves behind.
Robinson keeps coming back. He's been staggering, but he's been able to finish the inning.
Rich Gedman. Ball 1. Difference between the two teams with men in scoring position. The Tigers are 1 for 4, and that was the home run by Trammell. The Red Sox with men in scoring position are 0 for 8. They did have 1 scoring fly ball by Benzinger in the 5th inning. 1 ball, 1 strike to Gedman, hit into a forced play and walked, 0 for 1. One and 1. Good fastball, and Gedman went after it. 1-2. So Jeff Robinson, who's been bobbing and weaving for 5 innings, suddenly finds himself out in front. He'd been trailing since Evans hit a 2-run home run in the 1st inning. Sinker swung on and missed. Noakes takes care of him.
That's that getting anxious kind of swing with 2 strikes, and it looks like that ball, when it hit off Noakes' shin guard. I don't think he got a glove on. Let's see as we look at the replay. Way out of the strike zone. I mean, no way. Hit his glove. He stayed in front of it, and he finds it immediately. Gedman's an easy out.
Wade Boggs, the batter, hit back to the box, walked and struck out. And his strikeout in the 4th inning was a big one. It came after 2 hits and a walk. And in the 4th inning, remember, the Tigers called pitch out and erased Ellis Burks. And then Reed singled and Gedman walked, only to have Boggs strike out. Wade hitting .355, 0 for 2. 4-3 Detroit, bottom of the 6th, 1 away. Pretty good fastball. He foul-tipped it.
Say, he doesn't appear to have lost anything. The fastball he threw to get him in the first two pitches looked like they sounded like they had good stuff on them. We're right behind home plate, our vantage point. That was a good one to Boggs.
Jeff Robinson is a big man. He is 6'6" and weighs in at 210.
97 pitches, Vin.
Boy, he's had to be strong to go along with being big. And he walks him for the second time. Wade Boggs has walked 82 times this year. Just to refresh your memory, and for the good folks in both Detroit and Boston, when things were a little cooler, how about looking at Alan Trammell's home run, opening day? It's not going to make the Marching and Chowder Society of Lee Smith too happy, but maybe it'll lower the temperature for a moment. Way back in April.
Long sleeve sweatshirts that day.
Sure. April the 6th. Meanwhile, with Boggs at first, here is Spike Owen. Right. Guillermo Hernandez throwing in the bullpen. Back of Jeff Robinson. The tying run at first, 4-3 Detroit, bottom of the 6th. One away. In there. 0-2.
If there's been one consistent strike, it's been the inside pitch that McCoy has been calling, although I must say that Owen disagreed with that one.
Owen does not strike out very often, about 10% of the time. If you're thinking about putting on a play, but you can't do anything now, 0-2. In the dirt, nice save by Matt Notes. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count. You know, we're counting pitches. Do you ever remember a game and the number of pitches associated with the game?
No, never. I don't remember us counting pitches. You would just kind of go on what you saw. If he was losing it, you knew it. And most of the times, the opposition's bats told you.
1-2 the count. Tied him up, and he just did get a piece of one in on the fists. Maybe that's one reason why Spike has struck out less than 10% of the time, the way he just handled that pitch. Watch.
Really ties him up. He's got it in a good spot. If he hits that ball, he's not going to hit it anywhere. He hit actually behind him. That would hit him on the back foot.
And yet, even though Boggs opened up with the walk, they would not put any kind of a hit-and-run play on, and he's grounded into 6 double plays. And line down the line, foul.
Oh, he got that hitter's delight, that nice high curveball. Didn't really bite. It just kind of floated up there and was breaking towards the bat. And even though it looked like it was out of the strike zone, Owen wasn't about to let that one go. Watch this pitch. It's a breaking ball, way nice and high. Look at it, letter high.
He has 5 home runs, but only 1 hit as a left-handed batter. One and 2. And that one's hit almost to the same spot.
Getting it so far inside that it's hard for him not to pull around on it and pull it foul. It's one of those pitches that if you're going to miss with it, you better miss inside and have him pull it foul, because if it stays out over the plate, it is a home run.
Remember, it's only 302 feet down the right field line here at Fenway. That's the shortest porch in the Major League. Got him, and might have gone after a bad ball.
I think it was, man. Looked like a high fastball with 2 strikes. He was going to just try to get a piece of it and put it in play. That's a hard pitch to lay off of because you see it, but that's where it moves a lot, too. Definitely high and definitely a ball, but with 2 strikes, you're not going to be up there being that choosy.
So Spike Owen does what he normally doesn't do, strike out and chasing a bad ball. And the batter now is Dwight Evans.
Keep in mind, the last time up, Evans jumped on that first pitch and singled hard to left field.
Evans hit a 2-run home run in the first inning, flied to right in the third inning, lined a single to left in the fifth. He has scored twice and driven in 2. 4-3 Detroit, 2 out in the 6th. Right. Remember that Evans was in a terrible slump on the recent road trip. No hits in 22 at-bats. He broke that up last night with a single and a double. And then he had another double last night, so he had 3 hits. 1-1. But Dwight's been busy, scoring 3 times last night and twice so far today. 4-3 Tigers, 6th inning, 2 away. Wade Boggs at first base. Two and 1. Those are Robinson's numbers, and you can gather right away with 5 walks and 6 strikeouts in less than 6 innings. He's been laboring. Sox have gotten at least 1 man on in every inning. They didn't leave anybody in the first inning because of Evans' home run.
And in Sparky's way of thinking, get me to the 7th inning and I'll try very hard to protect your lead. Because he's got that good bullpen, and Robinson has made an awful lot of pitches.
3 balls and 1 strike to Evans. And remember, Greenwell on deck, fouled away. So it's a big at-bat for Evans to try and extend the inning and let the left-hand hitting cleanup man have a shot at him. And Greenwell has a double and a single in 3 trips. So with a full count and 2 down, Boggs will be going. Guillermo Hernandez throwing in the Detroit bullpen. Holding Boggs. Bergman is behind him. Boggs goes, and so does the ball. It is gone. For Boston, Robinson is gone. They want a curtain call from Dwight Evans. Here he comes.
Dreaming the dreams of America.
Why do so many people choose GMAC financing to get the GM car or truck of their dreams? GMAC makes it easy. You do it all right at your GM dealers. And we make it easy on your budget with rates and terms to fit your needs. Don't just dream about a new GM car or truck. See your GM dealer about GMAC financing. GMAC. Official sponsor of America's Dreams.
Listen to the heartbeat of America.
You don't have to spend $1 million to look like you did. Just catch the brand new beat, the all-new Chevy Cavalier.
The heartbeat of America.
Do you know what it's like to walk out onto the fresh-cut grass at Yankee Stadium the morning before the game? Now you do. Adidas. Aftershave and cologne. The essence of sports.
From the folks who gave you Matilda Bay Original Fruit Cooler comes a crisper, drier taste. New Matilda Bay Special Dry. A drier way to take your taste away from the everyday.
The U.S. Olympic team takes on the Canadians in boxing. A North American showdown. Sunday.
4-3 Detroit. 2 out, 3-2. Boggs going, and so did the baseball. Out of the stadium.
He knew it. The minute he hit it, it was gone. That was 111 pitches for Robinson, 22 in that inning. You think he gets it all? Watch his reaction.
And it's his second home run of the day, and you see that number that stood the crowd on its ear. Dwight Evans' uniform number is 24. And if the Red Sox win today, it will be their 24th consecutive victory. 24s all around. Guillermo Hernandez, who's been tuning up back of Robinson, who has been shaky all day. Hernandez, good numbers. However, the big man, Mike Henneman, leads the pen with 19 saves. So Hernandez trying to restore order in a wild sixth that saw the Tigers get 3, and the Sox come right back to take the initiative, 5-4.
Before this series, Evans was in a bit of a slump, but he is really out of it now.
Ball 1. One and 0, the count of Mike Greenwell. Slide to left, double to right, single to right. 2-0. And this crowd, over 30,000, beside itself with joy. Boy, what a day for Dwight Evans. 3 for 4, 4 RBIs, 3 runs scored. And in this series, he has just worn Detroit out. 6 for 8. Drive to left field, going back is Sheridan, and this ball is gone.
Inside out, and that's what they do well.
Mike Greenwell hits his 19th home run. For Hernandez, the 5th home run that he's allowed this year. And the Red Sox are leading 6-4.
And after 2 outs, Vin.
And both strikeouts, with Owens and Gedman striking out, there was a walk to Boggs. And then the home run by Evans against Robinson. Now Greenwell's home run against Hernandez. If you're not keeping score and you wonder about the Tigers in the 7th inning, they have Matt Noakes, Darrell Evans, and Dwayne Murphy. Two and 1. Benzinger has struck out twice and had a scoring fly ball. So each side has come up with 3 here in the 6th. And it's 6-4 Boston. First high and inside, then away, and he chased it, and they count 2-2. That's a familiar pattern.
It is. And that's the sign of a guy who's been around that block. Hernandez certainly has. He moved him back good with that high fastball and then hit the outside corner, and he just kind of reached for it. He didn't have a good swing at all.
And chased one in the dirt, and he's going to reach because it'll go to the backstop. For the second time today, Benzinger has struck out and reached. The last time in the third inning on a wild pitch. We'll see how they rule this one. Wild pitch or fastball.
I'm sure they'll call it a wild pitch, but once again, Noakes reached. The one time that he didn't is when he made the play, when he kind of scooped it. You have to almost be a hockey goalie when that ball's hitting the dirt. Reaching one hand is not going to do it.
And in the dirt, it's a wild pitch. So twice Benzinger has reached on the wild pitch. And here is Jim Rice. Late on that fastball, 0-1. Rice walked, grounded into a double play, was aboard on Tom Brooken's error in the fifth inning. Oh, 0-1. Fouled away, 0-2. It'll be small consolation to the Tigers. As you see, Minnesota breezing now. If Rice strikes out, they will have struck out the side. But boy, did they pay a price. Ball 1.
Surprised they're not running Benzinger. Only if they do get him thrown out, Rice will lead off the next inning. He's got 2 quick strikes on him. I'd be looking for him to go.
That's the last thing you look for here, I guess, is the running game. Foul back.
Big guy like this, you give him a couple swings. As we look at Dewey Evans, he's the man of the hour.
2 home runs, each with a man aboard. And Joe Morgan suddenly sitting on top of a 6-4 lead. 1-2. Got him with what looked like a screwball. It turned over on the corner. So Detroit strikes out the side, and the Red Sox walk away with 3. It is 6-4 Boston at the end of 6. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station, and we all look at 24.
Although NBC executives pressured Danny DeVito, it took a mightier power of persuasion to convince him to host Saturday Night Live.
2, 5, 2, 5, yay!
Yes, that's the number to remember. It's our address at Lawrence Shenton with Chrysler, where we're still doing the impossible by offering you the best inventory of new and used car at the best prices. And when you buy or lease a Chrysler from us, you get the best service too. So what's that number?
2525, yay!
That's 2525 Laurentian Boulevard, north of Côte-Vertu, a dealer worth cheering about.
Yay!
The world's fastest horses. North America's top drivers. The race of the year. Le Prix d'Été 88, Sunday, August 21st at the Hippodrome Bluebonnets for a purse of $600,000. Exciting same-day eliminations and finals. Le Prix d'Été, 1:30 Sunday at the Hippodrome Bluebonnets. Live the thrill that only Bluebonnets can offer.
What makes Jenny Light taste so great? People. People like Skip, Hank, Gus, and Francis over there.
How are you?
Men who still take pride in serving their community. Healthy people.
Men, remember, a better body makes a better bodied beer.
And at the end of the day, we go home proud, knowing that we've made the best light beer, so that you'll say, boy, could I go for a Jenny now.
The Lang Real Estate Guide, this Sunday morning at 11:30, only on WPTZ Channel 5.
Mike Boddicker is finished for the day, but he went 6 innings, allowed 4 runs, 6 hits, a walk, and 4 strikeouts, and Boddicker can be the winning pitcher. The ball is now in the hands of Tom Bolden, a 26-year-old from Nashville, Tennessee. Bolden 1-2. Now Bolden will be facing Matt Noakes or a hitter, then Darrell Evans and Dwayne Murphy, and we're waiting to see.
Noakes has already gone to the bullpen, so it'll either be Heath or Knight who'll be pinch hitting. Heath is on the top step. He's come in from the bullpen. Evans is just waiting. Let's see who Sparky Anderson chooses. There's Mike Heath. Salazar right in front there.
I would think Salazar would be a trump card to be used later on with his big numbers, 11 home runs. And he's trying to get aboard, and then will stay right in the lineup, hitting in the catcher spot. Montreal knocks off the Mets 7-4. So Montreal trails by 4.5. They've won 8 out of 11. So for the moment, that's exactly the National League East. Montreal is a power to reckon with because they are a good team at home and on the road. They're 6 games above 500 at home, and they are 5 games above 500 on the road. So that's a well-balanced club, and they're far from out of it. 4.5 back of the Mets. By the way, the Expos and the Mets play a doubleheader tomorrow. That's at Shea Stadium in New York to conclude the thought. And now let's get to Mike Heath batting for Matt Noakes. It's tough to send somebody up to hit for Noakes. He was 1 for 2 today, and 6 of his 13 home runs have been hit against Boston. But they'd rather get a right-handed bat in there against Bolden. Right. Mike Heath with 4 home runs, 15 RBIs, hitting .262. Another one.
And he laid 2 beauties right there. I mean, that's what you like to see the relief pitcher come in. It's almost like he's sending a message saying, hey, I'm throwing some good strikes.
Good curveball, a comebacker. Boy, did he break off a dandy. 1 away. Friends, the game of the week is brought to you by the heartbeat of America, today's Chevy truck. 1 down, and Darrell Evans checks in. 0-2, and you try to hit, and this is what you get.
The 2 best pitches he took, and now he tries to hit that curveball, but with 2 strikes he had to chase it, but it was definitely out of the strike zone, but too close to take.
If you're wondering about why they hit for Matt Noakes, you just look up his numbers against left-hand pitching. Noakes has 1 home run and was hitting .223, so they gave him the hook. Darrell Evans struck out, grounded into a double play, 0 for 2. Fastball hit to straightaway center to Ellis Burks.
Talk about left-hand hitting against Bolton. It's only 205, 8 for 39, so Joe Morgan knew what he was doing.
You look at Bolden's numbers, besides the 1 and 2, in just about 20 innings, 9 walks, and 14 strikeouts. So he's right around the plate. And you look at his minor league numbers, and invariably, at least 2-to-1 strikeouts to walks. Dwayne Murphy fouled out, grounded out, 0 for 2. Ball 1. Fastball, 1-1. They tell me that Tom Bolden is a cabinet maker in the family business during the offseason. So what he's really trying to do is make a trophy case for the Red Sox today and put number 24 in it. 1-1. Good fastball. Throwing nice and easy.
It's on you before you know it. And he's been moving it around. We've only seen him face, well, this is the 3rd hitter, and he has just been around that plate on every one of them.
Got it. Oh, did he look good in that inning. Young Tom Bolden, and the crowd, of course, very much in his favor. So it's still 6-4 Boston. Here's another edition of the 7th inning stretch.
Gatorade Thirst Quencher presents the 7th inning stretch. Gatorade is thirst aid for that deep down body thirst. This twin averaged 17 wins a season the last 4 years, even though his lifetime ERA is over 4. And he's the pitcher everyone was watching in October of '87. Can you name him?
Great teams aren't born. They're built, player by player. Introducing new Citrus Cooler Gatorade. It speeds in fluids and minerals. Supplies energy to working muscles. With a cool citrus taste all its own. If you're going to be part of this lineup, lemon lime, orange, fruit punch, lemonade, this is cooler. You'd better bring something to the party. New Citrus Cooler Gatorade.
Scooping up postseason fame was Frank Viola of Minnesota. In 1987, Viola was voted the most valuable player when the Twins upended the Cardinals in the World Series. Viola appeared in 3 games against St. Louis and won 2 times, including the decisive 7th game. Viola also strung together 2 appearances and 1 win in the championship series. Minnesota's World Championship hero, Frank Viola.
Here comes today's Duracell battery. And here's yesterday's. Today's are built to last up to 30% longer than the ones we made just a few years back. So you'll be guaranteed a long, happy life. Today's Duracell lasts 30% longer.
Don't forget next week, the game of the week, preceded by Major League Baseball, an inside look, and then many will see the Oakland A's right here at Fenway Park against the Red Sox. Others will see the Astros at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh next Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Tom Bolden, who had a very impressive 7th inning, 1-2-3 for him. It is 6-4 in favor of the Red Sox, and Ellis Burke, Jody Reed, and Rich Gedman against Guillermo Hernandez. A rather electrifying 6th inning, and what an oddity in the bottom of the 6th. The Red Sox scored 3, and Detroit had 4 strikeouts in the inning. Popped up. Trammell going out. Coming in is Murphy. Trammell. 1 away.
Inventors at New Term in Sports, answered and unanswered points, and that's the way you answer the other team when your team puts some numbers on the scoreboard like the Red Sox did in the bottom of the 6th. Bolton comes in and he just puts those bats right back in the bat rack.
Now for Hernandez, his job is somehow to defuse the Red Sox. And when Detroit comes up in the 8th inning, they'll have Tom Brookins, Lou Whitaker, and Pat Sheridan. Jody Reed walked, single, and then was robbed of a hit on that great catch by Tom Brookins in the 5th inning. So Jody could easily be 2 for 2. Brookins made the play of the day.
Looks like he's been mud wrestling.
0-1. Breaking ball missed. 1 ball and 1 strike. It's interesting when you think the Red Sox and home runs. They've hit 3 today. In Fenway Park, that's synonymous. 1 ball, 1 strike. Foul ball, 1-2. You know, in their record, when they went 19 out of 20, you know, they went 5 consecutive games without a home run? That's hard to believe. And here they are. If they win today using their favorite weapon, the home run, they'll be 2.5 back. They hit 23 home runs during their 23 straight. If they win today, for number 24, they will have hit 26 home runs. Boy, did that thing come out of the glove. You'd think there was a spring in there.
He must have... Well, what the bench jockeys would holler now is, hey, take a look at that glove. Did you get that from U.S. Steel?
Boy, did that thing bounce out of there.
I mean, he never even... He didn't even come close to catching it.
No.
He never even got close to closing his hand.
And that's a veteran catcher back there, Mike Heath. 3-2. He's been catching professionally since 1973 and first came up to the Yankees way back in 1978. Oh, with 1 out, Reed draws the walk. And the batter will be Rich Gedman. The Red Sox led 2-0 and 2-1. Then it was 3-1. Then the Tigers turned it around to lead 4-3 on the home run by Trammell. And the Red Sox turned that around on home runs by Evans and Greenwell. So it is 6-4 Boston in the 7th. Gedman hit into a force play, walked, and struck out. Ball one. Reed does not do any running. He has one stolen base. That's great, isn't it? The daily events at Fenway Park have taken on fictitious, almost mythological flavor. 1-0.
Heath has a good arm behind the plate. If they do anything, it would be a hit and run play, but Heath and Hernandez does a pretty good job of holding him on.
Boston 6, Detroit 4, bottom of the 7th inning. Hernandez picking up the pieces for Jeff Robinson, who went 5 2/3 innings. Hernandez came in when it was 5-4 Red Sox, and he was stung immediately by Mike Greenwell's home run, his 3rd hit of the day. Here's Greenwell. He has a single, a double, and a home run, and he won't get a call in the parlance of the racetrack because Dwight Evans has 2 home runs in a single. And that's hit to right center field, and there's nobody there. Going over to run it down is Murphy. They will send him in. The throw to Trammell, no play on the double by Gedman. 7-4 Boston.
They were swung way around the left field, and Gedman able to pull that ball, and Reed not hesitating at all, easily scores from first.
So Hernandez has not done what Sparky had hoped. He has given up 2 runs. It is now 7-4 Red Sox. Henkel throwing again. And Wade Boggs will be coming up. Look at the gap. Murphy having to come way back and just did snare it. That thing almost went to the wall.
He got it back as soon as he could, but Reed scores easily. He was way over in left center field. That's a case of stacking your defense and not being able to make them hit that way, so you pay the big price.
Wade Boggs against Hernandez and Gedman at second. Boggs has walked twice, hit back to the box, and struck out. Sidearm. Though he dropped it a little, but not much of a pitch. Ball 1.
That's a big bonus run, Vin, because you're really hoping to stay away from the double play and keep the inning alive, get the top end of that order up, and here he is knocking the run in from first base.
2 balls and no strikes. Again, we bring up that point that Boggs has grounded into 16 double plays to lead the Red Sox in a somewhat unenviable department. Joe Morgan now has sent the call out, and Lee Smith begins to loosen up in the bullpen. 3-0. There he is. To Wade Boggs. And it's ball 4, so he walks for the 3rd time today. Boggs, with his 3 walks, has scored once on a home run. Reed walked, and he scored. Only 2 of the walks have been cashed in. Mike Owen has singled to right, hit into a force play, flied to center, and struck out. He's 1 for 4. Owen batting .249 on the corner. On deck is the man wearing the number. It's all wrapped up in his shirt.
I'll tell you, that was one of those temperature strikes. It's getting hot and swing the bat.
No balls, 1 strike to Spike Owen. Scroogey in there.
There's another one. I think the barometric pressure may be getting McCoy.
Larry McCoy, the plate umpire, with Drew Coble, Don Denkinger, and Tim McClellan working the bases.
Hey, when it gets hot, they do widen that zone.
0-2. Rich Gedman at second base has just doubled in a run. And the walk to Boggs puts runners at first and second. 1 out in the inning. Turned him around. So that kind of figured. You saw the screwball get the outside corner, and you can read Hernandez's mind. He's saying, okay, if he's now going to go over there and try and protect that outside corner, I'll move him off. Joe Morgan and Sparky Anderson, they're a great part of the story unfolding here at Fenway. 1-2. And a drive the other way to left center. Burks was in right center, and that's going to go to the wall. In comes Gedman. In comes Boggs on a double by Owen. 9-4 Boston.
Murphy has to be talking to himself in center field. He was in left center field with Gedman hitting. He hit it in right center field. He's in right center field, and Owen hits the ball in left center field. So if you're going to make me play there, you better make him hit there.
Boy, they are running his legs off, and they're also dispatching Guillermo Hernandez. So the Sox have scored 8 runs or more in 26 games this year. They're on their way to making it 25 out of the 26. And it is 9-4 Boston.
Chevy S10 invites you to own the street with the biggest engine ever offered in a compact pickup. The most V6 power and torque available in a compact truck. And a price to make your heart beat faster than ever.
The heartbeat of America. That's today's Chevy truck.
In Matilda Bay, only one thing livens up a dull night at the movies.
Coming soon, Skippy 4. This time he's hopping mad. Seat Wars. And now Matilda Bay Cooler is in the lobby.
It's a different kind of cooler. Sensationally smooth, exotically refreshing, wildly unique. Try original fruit and new special dry. Now made in the States.
Tonight's feature, Pause.
Take your taste away from the everyday.
It took 2,000 years, but a revolutionary discovery is changing the way men think about coloring their gray hair. It's called Just for Men, from the leader in men's hair coloring. Simply apply Just for Men, and in 5 minutes, shampoo out. Your gray is blended away, leaving your natural-looking color. 5 minutes. Here, look at me. Just for Men leaves your hair looking healthy and fuller, and it won't fade or wash out. Just for Men, in the men's hair care section.
The product, the usage, the vehicles, the testing grounds, the results. STP oil treatment is the edge.
Dwayne Murphy has been running a marathon out there. Before the game, I was asking, who do you key on? He says, I watch where the catcher sets up because a lot of times I can't see the signals, and I watch where he sets up, and that's what I do. Now, watch Mike Heath. It looks like he wants the ball low and inside, and it's a little bit to the outside part of the plate, and here goes Murphy. They've really had him running, Vin. He ought to get some mileage.
Murph has really been on the road, and he's here in Boston, going into left center for Gedman's ball, right center for Spike Owens' ball, and all the while the Red Sox having a ball. Scored 3 in the 6th, 3 in the 7th. Don Henkel picking up for Guillermo Hernandez. Coming up will be Dwight Evans, and it will be an interesting point. The only American League player to hit 3 home runs in a game this year. It was opening day when George Bell did it against Kansas City. Evans today has 2 home runs and a single in 4 at-bats. Hankel has allowed 3 home runs, and he inherits Spike Owen at second base. 9-4 Boston. They won with 9 last night. Little slider away, ball 1.
I tell you, if you're Evans and you got that big a lead, you got to be thinking home run. You really have to fight that urge to overswing.
With 2 home runs today, he has 12, trying to pick up Owen from second base. 1-0. 2-0. In there, 2-1.
Evans hit it on the first home run on a 2-2 pitch and then a 3-2 pitch. So it's been the 2-strike home run. That means pretty good concentration.
2 balls, 1 strike. Ball 3. On deck, Mike Greenwell. Runs, 11 hits for the Red Sox, 4 runs, 6 hits for Detroit. And they're walking. That's the 3rd walk of the inning given up by Detroit pitching. And Mike Greenwell, the batter. See how consistent Mike Greenwell is last year and this year. Remarkably so. Greenwell today flied to left, double to right, single to right, and homered.
Well,
Mattingly kicked out. You can bet the Yankees are snarling, down 11-2 in the 8th inning.
It's been one of those games for Sparky where he almost has to have a meeting with his pitching staff and his pitching coach and everybody else. 4 strikeouts in 1 inning, 3 base on balls this inning. It's been one of those games you really don't have to read the disclaimer.
A couple of strikeouts on wild pitches.
Right.
Ball 2. So Hankel does not appear to be the answer for the moment. Pitching very, very cautiously. He walked Evans, and now he's behind to Greenwell. The Sox on the road scored 8 runs in their last 4 games in Detroit, if you remember. And here now they've scored 18 runs in 2 games. And that's going to be hit at Brookins. No further play. Greenwell was out in front of it, hit off the end of the bat. 2nd out of the inning, and it'll bring up Todd Benzinger. Benzinger twice today struck out and reached on wild pitches. He has struck out 3 times, and he's also had a scoring fly ball. drives it foul off third. Out of play. Benzinger hitting .274. Right now, we'll pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
Channel 5, WPTZ, Plattsburgh, North Pole, Burlington.
Red Sox leading Detroit 9-4 with 2 out in the 7th. 0-1. One ball and one strike. No swing, says Tim McClellan.
Heath really got in front of that ball. You can see it go off his chest protector. Remember earlier we were talking about Noakes trying to catch that ball one hand, and it's very difficult to do. Now watch what happens here. I don't even know if the glove gets near there. Look how he's trying to shovel it there, and it's just right in front. It's almost like a hockey goalie. Shovel it in front.
1-1 to count. To repeat, Brookins, Whitaker, and Sheridan due up in the 8th inning. 1-2 the count. Robinson, Hernandez, and Henkel. Boddicker and Bolden for the Red Sox.
I don't blame you, Larry. It's hot. 9-4. Make them swing.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, that's quite a day for Benzinger. He strikes out 4 times and still has a run batted in to show for the day's work. At the end of 7, 9-4 Boston.
When you need tools, any kind of tools, for every kind of job, one name gives you more good choices than any other. Craftsman.
Dude, would you choose hamburger A, a Wendy's hamburger that's served hot off the grill, or B, that sits under heat lamps?
Sits under heat lamps? Cool deal. I like it, dude.
Most people prefer hamburgers hot off the grill, like Wendy's, where you get the best burgers in the business.
Read any good beer bottles lately? This one tells you that Miller Genuine Draft is the one beer that's cold filtered, not heat pasteurized. So we haven't changed the rich, smooth taste of real draft beer. And you know what's the best thing about reading this bottle? It leads to a very happy ending.
What would you get if you crossed an Oldsmobile like this with an Oldsmobile like this? You get an Oldsmobile that really cooks.
Now, save up to $1,440 on a new specially equipped Cutlass Calais. See your Olds dealer for details today.
The fans' favorite pastime.
We want to keep it a good time for everybody.
At baseball stadiums across the U.S. and Canada, there's a new team spirit.
We want you to have fun at the game.
We want you safe on the road.
Because we want you back.
Everybody's pitching in to keep drinking from spoiling a good time.
Responsibility! That's the spirit!
So when you make your run for home, we know you'll be safe. Get the team spirit. Team techniques for effective alcohol management.
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
It is particularly hot if you're losing. I mean, it's hot no matter what, but if you're losing, you really feel it. And Mike Heath, even though he has nothing to do with coming to bat in this inning, is going to shed the gear just to cool off as Tom Brookins at the plate and a strike.
I'm surprised that he might even try to come out there and just catch with the shin guards and the mask. That's been done.
0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Reminds me, I think it was Don Slaught who said that in order to protect his face, he had been beamed earlier this year. He was going to keep the mask on at all times, even for plays at the plate. Did you ever do that?
No, I never did it, but Gedman does it all the time. Gedman did it last night when he thought he tagged out Trammell. I asked him about it today. He said, I just want to protect my cheek. It wouldn't take much to hurt it.
Most catchers
take it off.
Take it off because they think it bothers their seeing.
I could never. There's 2 things. That's one of them. The other thing is why you don't take infield practice with your gear on. I mean, what good does it do you? You're going to have to wear it to throw, but nobody ever does it. If some star would do it, then everybody would do it.
2-2.
But you're going to see just as well with the mask on as off.
You think so?
Sure. You only look at it, 3 fields. You don't need peripheral vision.
3-2. And it's popped in the air off third base. Boggs is there. 1 away. They paid attendance today for the 33rd straight time, over 30,000. 33,601. 33,601. So the Sox are playing exciting ball and winning ball at home, and the folks are coming out to see them. They're getting close to the 1,000,007 mark, and they ought to go over that tomorrow. Tomorrow, by the way, Roger Clemens for the Red Sox and Eric King for Detroit. King, with a record of 2-1, has only made 3 starts this year.
Now you got to figure Clemens is favored, right?
Just like last week, right? You say, let's see, Bruce Hurst was 3-10, an earned run average of 7.5 against Jeff Robinson, and they go shutout for 9. And then Hurst wins it in the 10th and then beats him again last night. So just when you think you have this game figured. Ground ball to third. Boggs is there to take care of him. So Lou Whitaker, 0 for 4 today. 2 hits in his last 35 at-bats. And if Whitaker is not 100%, if the slump is due to that bad back, which bothers him on and off, the Tigers are going to have to dust off Jimmy Whalewander again.
May have to do it because whatever he tries, now that was, a good idea, but there's Whalewander. But he really couldn't deaden that ball and was perfect for Wade Boggs.
Pat Sheridan has grounded out twice, single last trip. He's 1 for 3. It's 9-4 Boston. We're in the 8th inning. 2 out.
Say, this left-hander's impressive.
Tom Bolden. And a drive to left field going back is Greenwell to pick it off. So Bolden has retired 6 in a row. And at the end of 7.5, Boston 9, Detroit 4.
Priced an imported car lately? You could be in for import sticker shock. Or a pleasant surprise at your Buick dealer, Buick Century. It's actually priced under smaller imports like Toyota Camry Deluxe and Honda Accord DX. It's loaded with standard features, like room for 6, stereo, even a real trunk. That's more car for the money. That's the value of the Century.
The great American love belongs to Buick.
30, the 20, the 10. Hold it. He's going into the party zone. It's football party time, and there's nothing better to party with than plenty of Miller beers and Fritos corn chips and Lay's potato chips. Look for the football party zone display wherever Miller beers and Fritos and Lay's chips are sold.
Taking the ball 15 yards. Hey, this is my house.
Miller beers and Fritos and Lay's chips turn your home into a football party zone.
Guy came by today trying to sell me some imitation body parts. Copycat hoods, doors, and fenders for GM cars. I wasn't buying.
You see, I know some of those imitations don't come up to GM specs for fit, finish, and corrosion protection. How do you protect yourself? Ask to see a repair order before insurance work begins, and insist on genuine General Motors parts. Remember, it's your car, and it's your choice.
An American tradition continues. During the decade of the 70s, a slugger named Reggie helped Finley's A's capture 3 consecutive World Series championships. Now home run hero Jose Canseco powers the Oakland A's as they face the Red Sox, or the Astros meet the Pirates. The tradition is here. The memories are waiting.
You're looking at Sherm Feller, who was born in 1918.
Doesn't take a lot of time, does it?
No, in introducing the hitter, we thought we might pick it up a little better than that. It'll be Jim Rice, followed by Ellis Burks, and then Jody Reed. What'd you say about Sherm was a DJ?
He was the hottest disc jockey in America in 1946 when I was here at the World Series as a rookie. and We the People, a radio show, he was booking it, and he offered me $500 to go on. And there was a dog that was supposed to be able to talk. He offered him $750. And I remember Frankie Frey saying to him, "That dog can't slide." So Frankie got me, he and Leo Ward, Traveling Secretary of the Cardinals, got me $750.
A 7-game series won by the Cardinals. 1 ball and 1 strike. Ball 2. Sherm, we mentioned, born in 1918. 1918 is memorable for the Red Sox. They beat the Chicago Cubs in the World Series 4-2. 2-1. Hot one inside third, down the line and going into the corner. And into second base, standing goes Jim Rice with a double.
Many times you'll see that ball hook in there and hit the wall. It kind of protrudes. And the shortstop is able to make that play, but this one missed the wall, and once it gets by that protrusion, it's an extra base hit. We're going to have a pinch runner then.
Jim Rice leaving the field and getting a well-deserved round of applause.
Right for right.
Every now and then you can hear Sherm Feller's voice, Kevin Romine running at second base. Ellis Burke struck out and singled, hit into a force play and popped up. 1 for 4. Boy, what a difference, huh? The Red Sox, needless to say, are home. And that's hit into right field. Base hit. Romine will be stopped at third. And Lemon gets the ball back into Bergman.
Nobody out. They weren't going to run themselves out of an inning, so Romine is at third, Burke's at first, and here go the Red Sox again.
Sparky saw Robinson touched up for 5 runs and 8 hits. Hernandez, 4 runs and 3 hits. And now Henkel giving up 2 hits. He's in trouble. And the batter is Jody Reed. When the Tigers come up in the 9th, they have Trammell, Bergman, and Lemon, but they will need a lot more than that. They're down by 5. And Paul Gibson, who worked last night, is up throwing in the Tiger bullpen now. Jody Reed, 2 walks, a single, and robbed of a hit by Brookins. Strike. Jody, 1 home run, 20 RBIs. His only home run came against Cleveland back in June. And he goes to right field. Base hit. Romine scores. Stopping at second is Burks. And it is 10-4 Boston. Boy, they are really having a party here. 14 hits and 10 runs. And nobody out.
And Wade Boggs doesn't have any.
That's right. Boggs and Benzinger are the only 2 men without hits. Benzinger has struck out 4 times, but he does have a scoring fly ball. Boggs is 0 for 2, but he has scored twice. So they've all gotten into it one way or the other.
Brookins has got to try to set up some kind of a defense here with Gedman up there and see just what they're going to do. And Larry McCoy's a little bit tired. He's one of breaking it up.
Reminds me way back in the old days. I remember Billy Cox in a runaway game going into Preacher O and talking to him. Some big right-hand hitter was up. And we asked later, what'd you say? He said, I told him, don't let him pull the ball.
That's about right. Here comes Sparky.
So a double followed by 2 singles, and that's all for Henkel. They'll go to the pen and bring in Gibson to try and get Gedman. So it is 10-4 Boston. We'll be back.
The totally new Buick Regal. There's nothing like it on the American road.
Out on the horizon, the heart of a Buick, the start of a regal new day. The great American road.
See here, my good man. I'm not going to pay a lot for this muffler.
Read my lips. I'm not going to pay a lot for this muffler.
Don't worry. At Meineke, we install quality Everlast mufflers from just $18.93 installed.
Ha-ha! Now it is clear. I'm not going to pay a lot for this muffler.
You're not going to pay a lot for quality at Meineke.
Speeding in fluids and minerals, supplying energy to working muscles. Nothing cuts through your thirst like Gatorade.
Now, a revolution in blade shaving from Remington, the new Remington Electro Blade, with vibrating blades for a close, smooth, comfortable shave. Safe, immersible, and cordless. The new Remington Electro Blade vibrating blade system.
That was the way the Eastern Division looked this morning. If the Red Sox put this one away, and it certainly looks like they will, a leading 10-4, they'll be 2.5 back. The Yankees are buried right now, 12-2 in the ninth inning.